On this new moon in Taurus episode of Spelling the HEKA-TEA with Marcus and Evanne, we of course have witchcraft in the news, and then it is our main topic. Here I am, rock me like a hurricane, partying with the heavy metal king of Olympus. So all about Zeus, of course. After that, we have our Chilling Adventures of Sabrina rewatch. And after that, we have SpellCraft.
How to observe the Olympia.
And then for an all-new Witchy Media review, we have the 2026 release from Tori Amos, In the Times of Dragons. All this and more on Spelling the HEKA-TEA with Marcus and Evanne.
Join us!
Gotta make it a chore. Am I not what you're looking for? I try to stay the course by taking any fucking part in the store. All back and forth, 'cause all I see is black from day to night. I'm never what you like, and all you want to see is more changes, mistrust, and then self-destruct. Although it's never enough, 'cause all you want to see is more change. So the day I die, and then you change your mind, and then you change your mind. Can't get enough of these changes in my life. And then you change your mind, and then you change your mind. Of your mind, and you're better off without it.
Which is Blessed New Moon in Taurus, and welcome to an all-new episode of Spelling the HEKA-TEA with Marcus and Evanne. I am Marcus James, author, activist, witch, and as always, a very defiant and very wonderfully pink homosexual.
And I am Evanne. I am a legal assistant, I'm a fiction editor, a witch, and also very pink, a lipstick lesbian.
Yes.
I mean, I could make a joke about what other lesbian things are pink, but I'm a lady and I don't use that sort of language.
No, never. If you are new here, welcome. We are so happy to have you here. If you are a returning champion, as we like to call you, welcome back. As always, we are so thankful that you are here. If you like hanging out with us and you like what you see, you like learning the things that you learn and just chilling with us in the morning or whenever you are watching the show, please do not forget to like, comment, subscribe, hype, and share, and help us continue to build this wonderfully magical, super califragilistically magical, baneful and blessed coven right here in our corner of the circle.
Where, as always, we are two homos, one cauldron, and it is a spellbinding good time. Woo!
Absolutely, root and shooty, fresh and fruity. Wow.
Here we are indeed.
And as you can see, we have some subtle changes to the decor. We got some new candle situations happening here. Just thought it would add a little more of a witchy vibe than the other ones that we had, which I do love, but like they were also really, really chunky.
Yeah.
And this just obviously these are slimmer. Mm-hmm. So she's fitting here on the screen right now.
Exactly.
And yes, also we are very, very pink.
Yes, we are very pink.
And there are so many explanations for that beyond just the fact that pink is for everybody.
Exactly.
But we will get into that later.
We will.
Yeah. So we're going to kick off with witchcraft in the news, as always. So, witchcraft in the news! But, preface, once again, we kind of have a light week.
We do.
Light episode, I shouldn't say week, a light cycle, moon cycle. Yes. Which is nice because, as you know, most of the time, it's very intense, heavy, serious, super serious news. And I think we have like one or two headlines maybe that are like kind of serious, but for the most part, they're actually just kind of fun, learning, interesting facts type headlines. So to kick us off will be me.
It will be indeed.
Yeah, so here we go. In Yorkshire, the tradition of Beltane is still being practiced today. As we know, many places in the UK and Ireland and many, pagan, neo-pagan organizations, etc., even here in the US, do a Beltane thing every year. But in Yorkshire, hundreds of pagans from around the world gather for the Beltane Festival at one of Yorkshire's most ancient and mysterious sites. So the pagan community in Yorkshire has been hosting a Beltane Festival annually for years now, with the celebrations, most of them taking place at Thornborough Henges, which is in North Yorkshire. So Nell Stafford, who is the head organizer of the event, said of it, that it's a celebration of the start of spring, and we all come together as they did in the past, with people staying on site and people trading various wares in a tradition that they would probably have had many years ago. We hold an opening ceremony on the Sunday, which is a tradition that always happened. Every time I've been here, it's been on the Sunday. We get day visitors because now there's more interested in Thornborough than there were in the past, and it's just a gathering of people. So it doesn't matter what faith you are, she says. All faiths are accepted. It's predominantly pagan, which of course, but it doesn't matter. You could be an atheist or a Christian. It doesn't matter. So the festival is laid out around the central henge, which is cared for by English Heritage, with people camping around the edge of it. Visitors set up stalls and sell crafts and traditional products. So another thing that Nell said was to be friendly with everybody, that there's a lot of chatty people around, and people like to talk. They like to get together and center as themselves as a community, and that's what she thinks it is, that it's very much a community event about community, which, you know, most of these things usually are. So Nell also says that we also have people from West Canfield and Thornborough coming in because they like to see what's going on, and they seem to enjoy it as well. They come down and they buy the local honey, or they buy the local wares, or meet people, or they get involved, or things like that. So Gav Mazam runs a stall at the festival and also highlighted the importance of the people at Beltane. And Gav said it's a tight-knit community, but it's also a very welcoming community. If you've come here for the first time, you will be welcomed with open arms and even be asked to sit by the fire. And fire, of course, is an important symbol at the festival, and so one is actually kept burning in a specially designed boat, which then stops any damage to the ground by insulating the heat. So for many of the pagans, the feel of it is very important to protect both the environment and Thornborough itself, due to, you know, its historical significance, its spiritual, metaphysical, occult significance, etc. Sue and Phil run Heart of the Raven. This is a Norse pagan shop which sells crafts. They both visited the Beltane Festival and have a stall set up on the outskirts. And Sue said, coming to a place like this, I think it's a needless excite, and it's just that spiritual place. It's coming here and thinking about the people who were here thousands of years ago, and it just makes her spine tingle and her hair all stand on end, thinking about just being there in time and place and here and there, and which, yeah. Evanne Dagger, who also helped organize the festival, had said of it that we've got one lady here, she traveled 27 hours to get to here. Wow. She's disabled as well, bless her. She really traveled hard. She's going to enjoy the weekend as well. There are people who come from abroad as well. Vicars come along, as well as people from the local villages. Some visitors have come down from Scotland, and others visiting from London. Some come even further, she says, even from places like Norway. You can be pagan, you can be Wicca, you can be Druid, you can be all sorts. But we all come together with the same sort of spirit of enjoying the energy of the henge, but also giving back to the henge. That's amazing.
That is really cool. I love that.
Yeah, so if you are in the UK and you are able to go to North Yorkshire and go here for next Beltane, or if you're watching and you attended this year, let us know in the comments about it. Tell us about it. Did you enjoy it? Have you gone in the past? Yeah, share how did you celebrate your Beltane in general? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear. And we will share them on next episode.
Yes.
Your turn.
My turn. Okay, so this is a really cool story. At the University of Barcelona, researchers were examining the remains of an ancient Egyptian mummy. And they discovered a papyrus fragment containing a section of Homer's Iliad, a section that was detailing naval preparations for the Trojan War, which was ritually placed on the mummy's abdomen as an intentional part of the embalming process.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I think that is really, really cool. This was a part of Oxyrhynchus Archaeological Mission, which operates within the university's Institute of Ancient Near East Studies. The approximately 1,600-year-old fragment was the first known example of an ancient Greek text incorporated into the mummification process of an Egyptian, which is really cool. So according to a statement announcing the discovery, the Oxyrhynchus Archaeological Mission is led by Professor Joseph Padro and was launched in 1982.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so the organization is described by the research team as one of the Spanish archaeological missions with the longest and most consistent track record in Egypt.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's really cool. The most recent campaign that they did ran from November 2025 to February 2026. This discovery of the Iliad fragment was made at the site's Al-Banasa necropolis, which the team noted is identified with the ancient city of Oxyrhynchus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the team said that this site, which is located about 190 kilometers south of Cairo, near the branch of the Nile known as Bar Yusuf, is significant because it was one of the most important cities in Greco-Roman Egypt.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I think that's so amazing. So the actual section of the book that was placed on him, it was a catalog of ships in book 2.
Okay. That is so weird.
I know.
It's weird.
It's really interesting. No, I know exactly. I'm actually currently rereading the Iliad myself, so I know exactly what passage that they're talking about.
Oh, that's so funny.
It's literally like before they're leaving to go, and they're cataloging the ships that are being
I remember. Yeah.
So it's very interesting.
It's just the fact that it was like wrapped up in the mud.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so crazy.
Yeah. I actually saw something about this prior to researching the episode. And an interesting question that was raised is like, if you were going to be buried with a selection from the Iliad, which would you choose?
Oh, I like that.
Big question. But I think it's really, really cool that this mummy had a selection, and it makes me kind of consider like why that particular passage was chosen.
Yeah.
You know, like the personal significance of that. Like,
yeah.
I just find that to be a really interesting question. I mean, I guess maybe like the passage of, the catalog of ships to help him pass into the next land. I don't know.
Well, the fact that it's that specific passage, then I wonder, like, what if it was because the ship's log was real?
Yeah.
And that the ship's log and the validity of the ship's log as an actual ship's log, and that the ships were all real, it's not just fiction.
No.
Then what if there's something to, like, the ships lead to something else?
Yeah, that's true.
And so there was all this, like, taking that with them.
Yeah, exactly.
This thing that proved, like, that like, this was, like, yes, this was actually a real log of ships that was used. Like, because there's some treasure or something, but something at the time they wanted hidden, and this log had to be with him.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was just, maybe he was a friend and his ship was one of the ships named.
Yeah, maybe.
And so that was always important to him, so he wanted to be buried. He wanted to go to the next life with that or something. It could be something as that too.
Exactly.
There had to be some significance that it was that.
Exactly. Like, I find it really interesting that it was that specific passage, because I feel like it's so specific, so kind of niche, that like there has to have been a personal significance to it.
Yeah, because it's also such a random moment. It's just like almost like one of those like filler scene moments where you're just trying to get the course of this is what they're doing.
Exactly.
Like there's no like.
So it's very interesting that he chose specifically that moment.
So there has to be something related to the log itself and the name of the ships. Like, I almost guarantee it. And I would be really interested to see if, like, down the road, we've come across a headline saying that there was they discovered the remains that they now believe they have the remains of one of the ships from the ship log.
Right.
And, the mystery continues. And then what was this on course for, and what was actually real? And, I feel like it's going to continue to lead down to more things that verify that this is more oral histories, yes, written in epic verse, whatever, by these scribes, but that they were down from liturgy, from the events, and just more things that will continue to prove the pagan world.
Yeah, absolutely. But either way, it's a very fascinating find.
Very fascinating indeed. So now to like some really sad news and shocking news.
Oh, no.
And maybe I just am an idiot and I was not aware of this situation. I hadn't heard of this or known that it was even still going on, and now I'm horrendously grossed out. But Denmark has had a long history, they continue today, of taking Greenlandic indigenous women's babies from them.
Oh.
Yeah, and taking them back to Denmark and adopting them out to be like civilized.
Oh my god.
So a Greenlandic woman has won a case against Danish authorities who removed her 2-hour-old child from her. So Kira Alexander Kronvold's daughter, Zami, was taken away from her when she was just 2 hours old and placed in foster care in November of 2024 after Kronvold was subjected to these FKU, parental competency psychometric tests, which they supposedly give to all new mothers to see if they can like raise their child was that disproportionately is used and weaponized against indigenous women in Greenland to take their babies from them. And apparently this has been a practice that started in the 50s and has been continued to go on. The High Court ruled that their actions were illegal. So what ended up happening was, at the time she was told that the test was to see if she was civilized enough.
Wow.
Yeah. So the Danish government abruptly banned the test on people with Greenlandic backgrounds last May after decades of criticism and amid international pressure after Donald Trump threats to the former colony, which remains part of the kingdom. But despite the law change, apparently dozens of Greenlandic parents living in Denmark, including Kronvold, have remained separated from their children after having undergone these tests. So in this ruling, the Western High Court found, of course, that the removal of her child Sammy, who is now 18 months old and living with a Danish foster family, was illegal and in breach of her fundamental legal rights, according to the International Labor Organization, or the ILO. Indigenous and Tribal Peoples Convention of 1989. It also ruled that the tests that were used to inform this decision were outdated. So Kronvold's lawyer, named Bert Dern, had said that the ruling held great significance, and he stated that when the state made this new law last year, they recognized they were in breach of the Convention on Indigenous Peoples and maybe of the European Convention on Human Rights, which, in my opinion, the ruling today confirmed. Yes, and also why? Like what?
I know.
Why? That's a sequitur.
Right.
That is a non sequitur. Like, are you fucking kidding me? This is a major victory for the Greenlandic community in Denmark. So, although the ruling will not directly lead to her getting her daughter back, because she has since been reassessed under a new system, because of course they just create a new system to uphold the same systems, mechanisms of oppression and colonialism.
Yes. And the fact that the wording that was used was to see if she was civilized enough. Civilized enough. Ew.
Fuck you, Denmark. Seriously, Denmark. Fuck you. So fucking gross. So fucking gross.
And Denmark has this reputation of being
I know.
Everything's great.
Denmark.
And then this shit is going on.
I know.
I did not even know.
I didn't know either. I had never heard of this until this article, and then I was like, how have I never heard about this? Ever.
Literally never.
Never. I have never. And I'm pissed because I have watched so many documentaries and things about Denmark and shit. And I'm
never heard about this at all.
And I've never heard any mention of this, so I'm why have I not heard about this? This is disgusting that I haven't heard about this.
And the amount.
And I'm not an unknowing, unlearned, uneducated person to the oppressions and systems of oppressions that are still operating within this fucking world.
No.
I'm very much passionate about human rights and human rights laws and violations and etc. in other countries. I've never heard of this. And so this is just having sorry, and I know I have already read this article, yes, but it still just angers me, reading the fact that this is even wow, we made this ruling last year, in 2025. 2025? Really? To decide that indigenous Greenlandic people are fucking human beings?
Right.
And apparently it doesn't matter because you've just created a different system to just still do what you wanted to do anyways.
Yeah. I hate that so much.
But it does mark the first time that the Danish High Court has ruled on the matter, and it is expected to have substantial repercussions for Greenlandic parents and their separated children, dating back as far as 1996, when Denmark ratified the ILO Convention. So not anyone before 1996.
Right.
And keep in mind, this has been going on since the 50s. This program started up in the 50s. So Dern said that there may be other women who have not been examined, again, according to the new law, and they will probably be able to use this ruling to get their decisions nullified. Or how much do you want to bet that the Danish government, social services, whatever, is going to speed up going through all the files and reassessing as quickly as possible before this all kicks into effect?
Right.
Oh my fucking God.
Wow.
Because they don't want to give the children back.
No. And it's
and they're still going to take them. They're still going to fucking take them.
And I think another thing to consider is by the time that these parents get their kids back, if they do, enough time will have passed that that kid is not going to know them. It's going to be so much hardship to rebond with them.
Yeah.
The damage is done.
Yeah,
you know.
exactly. He also said that adult Greenlandic people who were removed from their parents as children could also use this to get an apology from the government and perhaps some compensation. So the Danish government is undergoing pressure over the tests, which are still deemed to be culturally unsuitable for Greenlandic people and other minorities. No fucking shit. Last week, the United Nations... So the United Nations had told Denmark that authorities' treatment of Kronvold may amount to ethnic discrimination. Again, no shit. Like, I don't fucking, like, why is this even a may? Why? I hate this language of maybe genocide, maybe discrimination. So Dern said Kronvold's case had been an eye-opener for Danish politicians regarding the treatment of Greenlandic people and Denmark's overall care and their forced adoption system. Something is happening, and that is a good thing, he said. Kronvold had lost a case in a lower court to be reunited with her daughter. Her lawyers now plan to also take that case to the high court and hope that they'll overturn it, which they fucking better. Like, God, what the fuck? Oh my fucking God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. So if you are new here and you're like, why are you just giving the headlines, reporting? We're commentary, so we're always going to be commenting. That was just, there you go. We're always going to be reacting. We're always going to be commenting. That's just the way it is. Anyway, back to the headlines.
I mean, as fire signs, we always have a comment.
Exactly. And also as fire signs, if it bothers you, you say, sorry for that, but also
shut the fuck up.
We don't care. You can fast forward, whatever. So Greenlandic politician, and again, apologies on pronunciations if I get this wrong, especially because I do have dyslexia. Korsok Hoogdam said Kronvold's case was the tip of the iceberg, but that nevertheless it was a significant moment in regards to this fight to reunite Greenlandic parents and their children. So after receiving the news that she had won in the High Court, Kronvold said, I feel so amazing. I'm having a hard time describing with words. I'm trying to calm myself down. This is going to change every case in Denmark for Greenlandic people. So even though obviously her own fight is not finished, she has vowed to continue until there is a new law for Greenlandic people. I am still working to make sure there is change coming for my children, she said. This is for life. That's it. I'm not backing down. So while the UN intervention is unconnected to the High Court ruling, both of these, of course, begin to add more pressure on the Danish government to take action. Reem Al-Wasalem, the UN Special Rapporteur on Violence Against Women and Girls, has written to the government, along with the UN Special Rapporteur on Rights of Indigenous Peoples and the Special Rapporteur on Contemporary Forms of Racism, all of them asking them to answer questions about the treatment of Kronvold and other families with a Greenlandic background. The UN officials did say the decision to remove Kronvold's children from her without consent may be discriminatory and disproportionate, citing that the apparent disrespect to her decisions regarding procreation and contraception choices over the years, and which clearly has caused her enormous psychological suffering. They also reminded Denmark of its binding human rights obligations. So Denmark held a general election back in March, and parties have not yet formed a government. In response to the UN intervention, the Danish Ministry of Social Affairs said in a letter that it was ready to engage constructively on the matters referred to in your letter and proposed a meeting to discuss the issues in person. Because you can't just say, you know what, you're right, this is gross, we need to stop fucking doing this.
Right.
The Danish Ministry of Social Affairs and Fisted Commune. Okay. Sounds like Fisted Commune. No disrespect. Okay. Actually, you know what? No, fuck you, Denmark, for doing this gross shit. So until you change your shit, I do mean disrespect.
Yeah, and we're calling it the Fisted Commune.
Yeah, so the Danish Ministry of Social Affairs and Fisted Commune in the back room, which made the initial decision to remove Kronvold's daughter, declined to comment.
Of course they did.
Of course they did. Fisted Commune. A spokesperson for the National Social Appeals Board said, today we received the ruling in this specific case from the Western High Court, which we will review in detail. Since the National Social Appeals Board is the appellate body in the area, we follow the case law closely and continuously assess the significance of a higher court's decision so that we can ensure that we follow the case law correctly. Fuck you, Fisted Commune.
Fuck you, Fisted Commune.
Denmark and your Fisted Commune. Fuck you.
Fuck you.
Gross, racist, colonizing fucking pieces of shit.
Exactly.
Fucking gross.
Like,
gross. Fucking gross.
This shit is horrific.
Wow. I just can't. Oh my God, I am
I know. Just like
pissed right now. I am like, I want to go fucking scream. I wish I had the money to go hop on a plane to Denmark and have the social pull, the social clout to fucking find this fisted commune and punch them in the face.
I know.
Like, give these people back their fucking children and give these children back their parents and their culture. Like, oh my God. Like, may HEKA-TEA Brimo strike you fucking down. Like,
oh yeah.
God. Anyway.
That's so much.
Your turn.
Okay, so this is a much more fun story than yours.
Good.
Yay! Coming out of Rena, Norway.
Oh, okay.
So this is cool. So last month, 2 people with metal detectors, like you use on the beach.
Yes, I do.
Discovered a trove of more than 4,000 coins in a field in Norway's Osterdalen region in Innlandet County. Again, apologies for my mispronunciations. Yes. And these date back to the Viking Age. Specifically the period from the 980s to the 1040s. Mm-hmm. A period when Norway's rulers were converting to Christianity and exerting that influence abroad. According to a statement from the Innlandet County Council, the coins are mainly foreign coins, especially English and German, with some Danish and Norwegian specimens. However, Norway did not have a national mint until the reign of Harald Hardrada, which was around 1045. Coins bearing Harold's face are among the last found in this selection of coins, but it was kind of like toward the end of that time period when these coins would have been minted that he began minting his own coins. Other rulers represented in the find include Knut the Great. Sorry for the pronunciation, I know I'm butchering it. But he reigned over a North Sea empire that included England, Denmark, and Norway. The English king Ethelred II the Unready was also
the Unready. Guys, I'm not ready. I'm just not ready, you guys. I'm not ready. So first of all, a Leo, and secondly, a homosexual.
Yeah. He just got ready now.
Just got ready. He's on gay time. It's a whole other... But he'll make up for it in getting there because we move faster than straight people.
True.
Just give him the bitch an iced coffee.
Exactly. I think he would like one.
Anyway,
so also the Holy Roman Emperor Otto III was included in there. The diversity of the coins in the hoard speaks to the interconnected commerce of the North Atlantic during the Viking Age, which I think is very fascinating. ArtNet News stated about this that from the 900s through the late 1200s, the region boasted a considerable iron production industry. As earlier excavations in the surrounding area have shown, ore was extracted from bogs before being worked and exported throughout Europe. The hoard may have been well accumulated through the fruits of such an enterprise, which is really interesting.
Isn't that interesting, Sam?
It is interesting, Sam. I thought so too.
Yes.
He agrees with me.
Sam, you need to be facing us more. There we go.
Now I see him.
Perfect.
Many of the Icelandic sagas, which were written down several centuries later, center around the formative years surrounding the year about 1000 in Norway and Iceland, describing how Norwegian kings such as, again, apologies, because I'm going to butcher this, but such as Olaf Tryggvason, Hakon the Good, Harold Greatcloak, and St. Olaf,
Calling Rose Island.
That's her patron saint.
Yeah, obviously.
Has anyone ever told you you look exactly like Jerry Vale?
No.
They should. He's the only man in the world that can make the hair on my arms stand up. Can I fix you a drink?
No, thanks. Is something wrong with your leg?
Nothing you can't fix, Doctor Man.
I beg your pardon.
I know I look square, but I'm like my father's tractor. I take a while to warm up, but once I get going, I can turn your topsoil till the cows come home.
Rose, please.
Want to see some Polaroids of me in my tennis skirt?
But yes, and the actual Saint Olaf
Yeah.
converted and spread Christianity in Norway and sent emissaries to Christianize Iceland. So a famous scene in the Brynjulfs saga depicts a clash between the heathens and the Christians at the Althing in 999 or 1000 that led to the Icelandic law speaker Thorgeir Thorkelson mediating the dispute by declaring Iceland would convert to Christianity, but private heathen worship would be allowed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Which would explain why there's still so many people who still practice to this day and have always.
Exactly.
Okay, that
like
makes
it
sense.
feels like it was one of the few places where it was never an eradication situation.
Right. So it was
know?
like when Constantine converted, and he was like, "I'm going to be Christian, but we can all coexist."
Right.
And then fucking Theodorus then took over 100 years later and was like, "Fuck no."
Yeah.
And then Cassius, Doris, came about, and he was like, "Oh, I'm going to bring back paganism."
Yeah.
And then that didn't work out.
No. Don't we wish?
But again, he was also like, you can everyone can worship however they want.
Yeah. So these coins are kind of from that period of transition within the Viking world, as Nordic rulers were centralizing power and engaging in greater commerce, communication, and communion with the Christian rulers elsewhere in Europe. So it's interesting.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. So that is a really cool discovery, and I love that it was just found by people running their metal detectors.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't like an official archaeological excavation or anything.
Yeah. So you never know why and what you may find.
Exactly.
Just by doing some metal detecting.
God, imagine being the person who found that. Like,
I know. Oh my God, how amazing.
right.
So this comes from CNN. So if we get enough to get their attention, but apparently there's an influx of modern witches making pilgrimages to Legina.
Really?
Yes. So Mukla, again, apologies for pronunciations, which is in southwestern Turkey, delivers, exactly what travelers expect from the Mediterranean: sunlit coastlands, rugged mountains, ruins of long-fallen empires. But beyond the attractions, there's a place that, of course, brings in a devoted stream of visitors that have little to do with the touristy shit. So about an hour's drive north of the coastal town of Akayaka sits Langina, a site that's home to the largest known temple, obviously dedicated to HEKA-TEA. It's a Greek goddess associated with many things, including most notably and most focused on witchcraft, the moon, crossroads, and necromancy, the dead, etc. So while, outside of kind of the basic 12 and those, other pagan stuff, a lot of the Greek and Roman deities and pantheons, not many are as worshipped as they used to be.
Yeah.
While others, of course, are heavily, and then others fall somewhere in between. HEKA-TEA, or HEKA-TEA, remains a subject very much of reverence from academic scales, as well as from spiritual, metaphysical ones. She attracts a global following of devotees from all over the world in every country, some of whom, or many of whom, actually travel to the sanctuary city to leave her dedications and offerings. So it's a large complex, of course, scattered with columns, and many structural remains to show the shape of what it once was, and to be seen as a threshold of an otherworldly realm. For modern followers, of course, it is more than another archaeological site. It's the spiritual center of their world, me included.
Exactly.
I dream of going there.
Yes.
That's not even, it's like, and it's so funny because it's not, if you're like, what country do you want to travel to first? I would tell you something completely different.
Yeah.
But if you just asked me,
what
location of the world do you want to go to first? This is it. This is the one place that before I die, and while I'm still mobile and able and functional and young enough to do things,
that you want to go.
I want to go there so bad. But it's also, as a homosexual, it is also not safe to go to Turkey.
True.
So.
And let's be real, flight right now is not safe in general.
Correct. So it is the only temple of this scale in the world built exclusively for the goddess HEKA-TEA, says Bilal Sohut, who is a professor at Turkey's Pamukkale University, and who leads excavations at both the sanctuary and the nearby ancient town of Stratonikeia. So the two sites were once connected by the Sacred Way, which was the stone paved roadway, which we've talked about, stretching just over 8 kilometers or 5 miles. It was lined with fountains, wells, and small settlements. And this route once carried elaborate religious processions between city and sanctuary. And during ancient times, massive processions traveled this route, says Sohuj. So the most significant one was a key-carrying ritual in which a young girl who was known as the Kleiduchos, or the key bearer, would carry a sacred key between Landina and Stratanakia, accompanied by a large choir and guarded by the Dudotos, the torchbearers who were her knights, her guarded witchy warriors. This key does not open physical doors alone, explained researcher and author Huma Zaibek, who has also written about Hekate. It symbolizes the ability to move between life and death, the conscious and the unconscious, and the old and the new. So Zaibek explains, of course, that Hekate was seen as a guardian of the threshold and an inner guide to those navigating personal crises or transformation. He says that she is seen as an archetype of the old wise crone, representing matrilineal wisdom stretching back 8,000 years to the mother goddess found in Neolithic settlement of Çatalhöyük in central Turkey. Who are we talking about? Kibali, who, of course, formed the original triplet of Kibali, Hekate, and Hermes.
Yes.
Langina grew in importance after around 88 BC at the time of a conflict between Rome and Mithridates.
Yes, who we've also
discussed during our Io Saturnalia special this past December. So, now, Mithridates ruled the kingdom of Pontus, covering what is now modern-day Turkey, while the rest of the region... Langina grew in importance after around 88 BCE at the time of a conflict between Rome and Mithridates, who ruled the kingdom of Pontus, covering what is now modern-day Turkey, while the rest of the region sided with Mithridates. Stratanakia supported the eventually victorious Romans. Again, how you have Hekate helping Zeus.
Yeah.
Now you have the people in the city of Hekate helping Jupiter. Same. See, it continues to just play out.
Yes,
it continues.
exactly.
There is this relationship between Hekate and Zeus, Hekate and Jupiter. Hekate as Diana Hekate and Jupiter Dianos, right?
Jupiter Diane.
Dione.
Oh God. Jupiter Dianis, actually.
Diana.
I will get a little bit more into that later on in the episode, but in that episode it's really interesting. He's connected with both Diana and with the god Janus.
Interesting. Interesting. Which also, so Janus also holds a connection to Hekate. So that's really interesting. Anyway. So later, the Romans rewarded the city by investing heavily in the temple of Hekate and establishing the HEKA-TEA Romania festival, which was an annual event that drew people from all over the ancient world. So Langina continues to be a place of pilgrimage, obviously.
Of course.
So many authors, including Sarita D'Este, hey girl, fucking shout out, love you. And of course describes herself as a priestess, a magical practitioner, visits the site to experience what they say is a place of profound energy. So for so many, the journey there itself feels symbolic as it involves navigating a modern 3-way junction near an industrial power plant with 3 towering smokestacks, an echo of Hecate's role as goddess of the crossroads. So while many come just to soak up the atmosphere, some make physical offerings at the ruins, including with garlic, pomegranates, apples, wheat, and occasionally fish. Which, though discouraged by archaeologists because of potential damage to the fragile remains, these mirror the kind of sacrifices given to the goddess thousands of years ago. So then why not invest in recuperating these locations and making them, especially if they're still places that are pilgrimage, and let's be clear, these sites, this isn't modern in terms of how, like, maybe it is in terms of the influx of how many now do, but trust. People have never stopped coming to the spot. So why not then invest in these temples and these sacred sites and bring them up to a place or build an official place for people to leave offerings that you would do in churches and other places. Like, treat it with the same fucking respect, for fuck's sake then. Like, instead of being like, don't leave offerings, why not invest in a way of bringing something in or back so that can be facilitated and respected to the people and take their faith fucking seriously? How about that? Sorry. So, of course, these mirror the kind of sacrifices and offerings given to the goddess thousands of years ago. So it says that many of today's followers practice modern interpretations of Hecatean worship, hence making them Hecatean witches versus just witches or Wiccans or pagans, because it's modern followers doing very much modern interpretations of ancient practices, but not doing it through any type of Wiccan pagan. It's just literally looking at, okay, how did Hecateans worship Hekate? And it doesn't matter where, whether in Greece or in Turkey or in Asia, in fucking the Middle East or in Egypt, it doesn't matter. Where, like, just how did they specifically give said offering, whatever that offering is. And then that's just how we do it. Right. We don't add any lord and lady or any context. We just literally do the liturgy as it was.
Exactly.
And we just do the actions as it was.
Right.
So classicist.
Yes. Now, obviously, there are some things over time that have to change. Like, I don't have access to sacrificing a cow, but I can offer my gods a beef product, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So, of course, you know, in early ancient texts, like in Hesiod's Theogony, Hekate is deeply revered and a supreme goddess who, you know, controls earth, sky, and sea. She was known, of course, as a protector, a source of wisdom, a cosmic force. But then, of course, as we've discussed on the show, her image changed from a deity to be revered to one that should be feared. A Turkish archaeological researcher named Emrah Yurtikin, who is working on a thesis about Hekate worship, says the seeds of this may have been sown by Greek playwright Euripides in his tragedy Medea, in which he portrays Hekate simply as nothing more than a patron of dark magic and witchcraft. So the widespread worship of the goddess Hekate during that period, namely her name being constantly mentioned and her healing properties, must have bothered Euripides in some way, prompting him to do such a thing, Yurtikin says. And of course, it wasn't just the ancient Greeks who brought this into view. In the Middle Ages, of course, she was associated with witchcraft and a reflection of medieval Europe's oppressive view of feminine wisdom, power, etc., says Huma Zybeck. Today's devotees of Hekate still worship her as a figure linked to witchcraft, but many worship her, Hecateans worship her much more outside of just that. And they embrace her as a cosmic guide, a goddess of pathways, a bringer of light, of the dawn. Ceremonies linked to Hekate, of course, are held all over the world. Yurtikin, who's an archaeological researcher, first encountered a Hekate ritual in Germany in the backyard of a house in a location he promised never to reveal, beyond saying that the surrounding state has about 3,000 Hekate followers. So, surrounded by the scent of incense, he says that he watched as devotees were guided by priests and priestesses as they left offerings of food and wine and chanted hymns drawn from ancient Greek texts. Again, because they're just Hecatean, they're classicists, so there's no modern invocations, it's just either done in original Greek or it's just said translated. Now, does that mean that we don't create and do our own modern invocation for something? Of course, we're witches. We write our own spells and invocations all the time, but
we do them in conjunction
with formal ancient practice, and there's no veering from that. Which, you know, conflicts with a lot of modern witches, especially people who operate, I would say, within a Wiccan framework, because of kind of the scope of what they're taught and how deity is, and all gods are one god, one goddess is all with one goddess, blah blah blah. Which, no disrespect if that is how you operate and believe. I'm just saying blah 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 because I guess I could have also said etc., but I meant the same thing, etc., etc., blah blah blah. Just more ellipses, more and more. And, you know, polytheists, which I also would say polytheists in a way is different from pagan. Just in the sense that I think polytheist is another, is almost like a way of describing a classicist in a pagan way. Like, a polytheist is a pagan, of course, a heathen, of course. But again, they're much more of a classicist in the way that they operate within their worship and practice. Whereas I feel like pagan, in the modern term of it, more I feel like people who are identified as pagan, they're not as classicist in the way that they maybe worship, and maybe they have a more modern kind of neo-pagan Wiccan ground operation or approach to how they operate magically, versus following like a strict what do the history books say and the anthropological books say, I can't speak, etc., versus, you know, what is just this like book like Dark Goddess Magic say, or whatever, you know, which again, if that's how you operate, then fine. I'm just,
Magic takes all kinds, and what works for us may not work for you, and vice versa.
Exactly. And same thing with the way you operate in worship works for you in a way that maybe doesn't work for us.
Exactly.
And vice versa. There are no official figures, obviously, on how many people work and worship with worship HEKA-TEA worldwide, but DSD, who founded the Covenant of HEKA-TEA, says that she, which I'm a part of, but she has a global community of hundreds of members, which I'm one of them. The goddess is also important to followers of Wiccan or other paganistic beliefs. So for non-devotees, just people who are interested in history and architectural shit, Lungina also offers that appeal. It was built primarily in the 1st century BCE over an older, smaller sacred site, the HEKA-TEA. And the monumental temple featured an unusual blend of Ionic and Corinthian styles. There are also fascinating carvings all around the ruins, including the labyrinth, which is, a double-headed axe and arcane sigils etched into the stone steps. That's really interesting about the labyrinth.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That is actually interesting. I had no idea the labyrinth was associated with her, which is really interesting.
Actually, that kind of ties into what we're going to be talking about later, because one of Zeus's epithets is Zeus Labrandius, and it's a warlike aspect of him, but he carries the labyrinth. But in this aspect, it's also tied to his relationship with Hera, because it's crowned on the top with a lotus, which her scepter was always featured with a lotus.
Yes.
So I love that. I didn't actually realize that it was connected on the HEKA-TEA side. So it's really cool. Like, I feel like that aspect is very like.
Well, and HEKA-TEA was a goddess of war.
Yeah, exactly. Like I feel like that aspect is like, it's obviously it's predominantly about war, but I feel like it's also kind of about his connection with these two goddesses.
Agreed.
And I love that.
No, that's really cool. Like, he's like connected to like the woman he's married to, and the woman that like fucking helped birth him and fucking guard him and teach him shit. Like,
exactly.
That's really cool.
He's down with teenage.
It's true. Lungina also holds a significant place in Turkish archaeological history in general. In the 1890s, it was one of the very first excavations conducted by Osman Hamdi Bey, who was known as the founding father of archaeology in the Ottoman Empire. So in the decades before the emergence of the Turkish Republic, his old mansion in the nearby village of Turgut is now a museum open to visitors. That's really cool.
Oh, that's really cool.
Osman Hamdi Bey's swift intervention helped prevent many of the friezes found at the temple, which unusually depicted Amazon warriors in a state of peace rather than war, from being smuggled out to Austria.
Wow.
He also ensured they remained in Turkey, and today they are housed in the Istanbul Archaeological Museum at the Mughla Museum. That's really cool.
That is so cool. I love that.
So their survival has left HEKA-TEA's followers with an unprecedented wealth of material to help inspire their devotion, says researcher Utikin. There is no other cult where the ancient tapestries, motivations, and materials have survived so perfectly intact.
So cool.
Which, again, when we've talked about in other things, like in our Eyes of HEKA-TEA special and just here and there throughout, but it goes back to why there was such the significance of this war with HEKA-TEA that has lasted throughout the centuries, throughout the millennia, that it's never stopped. And it's because her shit was so, there's a reason her shit was so deeply preserved. Like her Donatos, her torchbearers, her guard, they protected the shit.
Yes.
And her priestesses protected the shit. Like, and there was a reason. And clearly it has just, she continued to just persist and survive and continue to go. And this really clearly has pissed off Christians for a very, very long fucking time.
Exactly.
So, yeah, go lady, go lady.
Cheers to pissing off Christians.
Cheers to that. Yay.
Yay!
Oh,
Okay, so next up, a new study has shed fresh light on one of the ancient world's most celebrated architectural wonders.
ooh.
So 4 archaeoastronomers from leading Mexican research institutions have demonstrated that the famous descent of Kukulkan light phenomenon at El Castillo, which is the Great Pyramid at Chichen Itza, is not actually confined to the equinoxes as was previously believed, but actually follows a precise year-round pattern of solar illumination that encodes the entire Maya calendar.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So the findings suggest that the pyramid was actually designed as a functioning astronomical instrument, capable of marking every major celestial event of the solar year, which is really cool.
That is really cool.
So the pyramid stands 30 meters or 98 feet tall, and features 9 terraced bodies topped by a temple sanctuary. As the sun descends towards the western horizon, it casts shadows from the pyramid's corners across the northwest ramp, forming a sequence of triangular patches of light that together trace the undulating body of a serpent, which is known as the descent of Kukulkan. Now, according to the study's authors, the process begins as early as February 12th in the year, when the first faint trace of light appears on the upper portion of the ramp. And at this stage, the triangles are incomplete and only last a few minutes. By March 4th, 5 triangles are visible in the late afternoon. And then by March 15th, 7 triangles of light are projected onto the balustrade, which remains visible until sunset.
Oh, cool.
Which is really cool. The researchers noted that the actual astronomical equinox falls precisely in the middle of the 7 triangle window. So 5 days after the first pattern first forms, and 5 days before the 8th triangle appears on March 26th. The finding leads the team to propose that a 7 triangle display may have served as a practical method for Mayan priest astronomers to identify the equinox with remarkable accuracy.
Nice.
Yeah. So it does not actually end there, though, as they've recently discovered. So by April 9th, all 9 triangles are fully formed, one for each of the pyramid's 9 terraced bodies. The triangles gradually widen over the following weeks until May 24th, the date of the first solar zenith passage at Chichen Itza, when the entire balustrade is bathed in light. This illumination persists through the summer solstice on June 21st, and then concludes with the second zenith passage on July 19th. Following the second zenith, the 9 triangles begin to kind of redefine themselves, reaching their complete form once more by September 2nd, before the pattern reverses as the autumnal equinox approaches. The last brief flashes of light are observed around October 29th, after which the ramp remains in shadow for exactly 52 days before the winter solstice, and then another 52 days after it until the cycle restarts on February 12th.
Oh,
so I think
that's really cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. And actually the significance of the number 52 is not coincidental. So the 52-year calendar round, the period after the Maya 365-day solar calendar and the 260-day ritual calendar realign, was one of the most sacred cycles in Mesoamerican timekeeping. The shadow-free interval of 52 days on either side of the winter solstice appears to encode this unit directly onto the pyramid's design, which is really cool. So the archaeoastronomy embedded in El Castillo operates simultaneously on multiple calendrical levels, linking the daily movement of the sun to the deepest cycles of Mayan sacred time, which is really, really cool.
Yes.
Another thing that I actually find interesting is that the interval between the solar zenith passages and the temporal equinox is 63 days, while the interval between the temporal equinox and solstice is 28 days. So together these 2 intervals sum to 91 days, which is the number of steps on each of the pyramid's 4 stairways. Multiplied by 4 and then adding the temple platform as the final step, the total reaches 365, the number of days in the solar year. Now the numbers 7, the triangles that mark the equinox, and 9, the pyramid's terraced bodies, and 13 interlock a relationship through 63 equals 7 times 9, and then 91, 7 times 13. So it seems like it's one of those situations where there's just not a single step or detail in this pyramid that was not deeply intentional.
Yeah.
So yeah, really, really cool. Connecting the celestial realm symbolized by 13 with the underworld represented by 9 through the surface of the earth where the serpent of light descends to fertilize the soil. This is really, really cool, very intricate.
Yeah.
I love it.
Same.
That's
so cool.
Yeah, it's really cool that that was discovered, that like it just goes so much further through the year than we previously realized that it did. Like, I think that is so awesome. So yeah, that is the extent of my news.
Well, thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
So lastly, I actually came across an open letter that I thought was really interesting.
Oh, really?
And newsworthy, because I think it also kind of maybe is a good thought for the future for other covensteads to maybe consider doing. And this comes from Queen Lady Passion. So this comes from, and out of respect, I will use their magical name first. Queen Lady Passion, also known as Dixie Dearman, who is High Priestess of Coven Old and Wild in Asheville, North Carolina.
Cool.
And this letter, this open letter, is regarding an article, a piece they did called "If They Build It." Study finds big potential for new Buncombe tourist attractions. And this was from April 8th, and it was, and this comes from the Mountain Express in Asheville, North Carolina. So this was her response. Of course, Asheville needs a new tourist attraction, but rather than profligate water parks or stadiums, I throw my witch hat in the ring by offering a place National Geographic magazine designated in its travel section as a place of destination for people seeking to learn about traditional witchcraft. My covenstead in West Asheville, in continuous existence since 1994. Dark tourism is popular, and so Asheville's haunted guidebooks have been written and walking tours abound. What was a tourist revenue town for scenic serenity is now a farce when folks fall for mailed beauty brochures and TV ads of tree vistas, only to find picnic grass with rare plants and nature trails decimated by dense building, ballparks, and concrete. Thousands have flocked to my covenstead, the equivalent of any church, synagogue, or mosque, and is often filmed by TV series such as United Shades of America, starring W. Kamau Bell. Journalistic notation on that. I could not find that episode. I did find an episode from season 1 where he experiences living off the grid in North Carolina, but I could find no episode descriptor that actually stated if he stayed with the Old and Wild Coven or not.
Okay.
I did find proof that this didn't take place, and there are photos of him that they posted of him and the crew there and him jumping a cauldron, which is about but I don't remember ever seeing this episode, and I watched the show.
Yeah.
I watched the show, and I don't remember ever seeing him with witches at a covenstead. I could be wrong, my apologies. And then I was trying to find a detailed episode description of that episode, but I couldn't. Yeah. And nothing specified Asheville. Everything I found just said off the grid in North Carolina, and I don't know if this covenstead is off the grid or not, so I can't verify. I can verify that filming took place, but I can't verify if they aired it. So it's a centuries-old 3-story maze of enchanting natural decor that inspires visitors to recreate it once home. Coven Old and Wild's covenstead has always been haunted, confirmed after Hurricane Helene, when I discovered prior owners had painted its entrance paint blue, hoping for prevention. It did not work. For decades, I've had to deal with a succession of solitary males who appear and inhabit our library, each from a different culture or timeline, so that I've often had to learn their lingo to dispel their death fear and satisfy their desires so they move on of their own accord. The only thing they have in common is some tie to Asheville, born here, killed here, a First Nations warrior fleeing from Seminole safety, a local who became a famous sportscaster. This commonality is a fascinating and special lore. A conservation easement to prevent development and perpetuity enabled by a trust for such, newly formed or by the Preservation Society of Asheville and Buncombe County, could have a gregarious sextant led tours, lines of folk walking inside clothesline boats where they can see all, but told much, but prevent theft. We even have overnight stay accommodations for a donation, which would help fund upkeep. We already have a beloved tourist attraction with a decades-long registered wildlife habitat. We can entice tourism without building something gaudy, redundant, or anywhere USA. Our opportunity is to show tourists what modern witches accomplished in an urban, walkable neighborhood, chock full of chic boutiques, restaurant, pubs, and closed hotels can be and do. Signed, Queen Lady Passion, again, Dixie Dearman, High Priestess of Coven Wild in Asheville, North Carolina. I just thought that was wonderful.
Yeah.
I commend you. I hope that the city of Asheville takes you up on this.
Yes.
I also say, hey, if you guys have any picturesque, nice covensteads, this is a good thing to do. You could open up and maybe revitalize tourism, especially if you're in a small town.
Exactly.
That could really benefit from some heavy tourism. Maybe you can open things up and set up for a nominal donation, and maybe create different scales or however you see fit but really start advertising, bringing people to not just your coven stead, but then in turn also promote them to do things in your town, in your hamlet, your area, your city, whatever. I love, again, that this is in the middle of Asheville, that there is this great coven stead that, you know, seems kind of removed from the city, but is actually within the urban hood. And I think that that's just really, I meant to say urban neighborhood, but it's urban hood. I don't know why I said that. And, but I think that's great. And, you know, I think we need more of that. I wish that, you know, I had an old Victorian or something here in my neighborhood with a sizable amount of property that then I could do something like that. Not necessarily have a coven stead where people are living there, but at the very least where people could come and like, you know, worship and gather and it'd be this picturesque, beautiful place. And
that would be wonderful.
So if you have properties like that, think about maybe helping your towns. Like if you live in, you know, places, you know, like here in Washington, we have cities like PL, Labam, Centralia, Chehalis, that, you know, like could use an influx of pilgrimages, of pilgrims, pagan pilgrims coming and pumping money into their economies. I just think that, you know, this is it's a great thing to consider doing. So props to you, Lady, again, Queen Lady Passion, High Priestess of Coven Old and Wild in Asheville, North Carolina. We see you, and may HEKA-TEA's light and torches shine upon you and bless you in what you're doing. Yeah, awesome.
We commend you.
Yes. All right.
Okay.
Now it's time for our main topic. Here I am, rock me like a hurricane, partying with the heavy metal king of Olympus.
And we all know who that is.
Zeus! Yes, it is all about the fucking thunder rolling, rock rolling, beef as fuck, bearded fuck, long-haired fuck, heavy metal god, Zeus, Jupiter.
Boom, boom, boom.
Also, Serapis, Osiris.
And I will get into all of the things.
I just want to make sure we give a shout out to all of his,
all of them things.
His personas and his different bands.
Exactly. So without further ado, let me just get it started.
Yes, Evanne's lead. This is one of those where Evanne's taking that lead on that main topic, which I enjoy because I just get to sit back and learn things and be amazed and interject here and there. And obviously, apologies if at any point I'm like, just like HEKA-TEA.
Right.
Because it's going to probably happen a lot.
You know, they do have a lot of those things.
Yes, and we are going to have like a follow-up episode to this
that's
further down the road that is going to be about their things that are together and their things.
Yes, because honestly, like I have been one of those witches who had like a connection with Zeus when I was a kid, but it was you know, as it is when deities come when you're a child, like it's very like, it's familial, it's paternal, but you don't have to be doing the deep work yet because you're a 5-year-old child, you know?
Exactly.
So most of my life, it was just kind of like that. I felt the protection. I honored him, but I wasn't like deeply on the path of education with him.
Right.
However, that all changed about a year ago.
Yes.
And since then, I've been working very deeply with him, both him and Hera. And it's been a wild ride, and I've learned so much. So we just kind
Zeus and Hera's wild ride.
Well.
I love it.
Anyways, so I've learned so much. So we kind of wanted to have an episode where we just do a deep dive about Zeus. Since we have done one about Hera, we wanted to give him one as well. But one thing that we've been talking about all the time is that over this course of the past like almost a year that I've been working more deeply with him, we keep discovering these things that are connections and synchronicities between him and HEKA-TEA.
Yes.
And it's quite a lot, so we are going to get more deeply into those in a further episode.
Yeah. That's how much there is that we can build an actual episode around their entire connection.
Exactly.
Because it is more, and we did touch on it.
Yeah.
We have touched on it before. We have touched on it in the Eyes of HEKA-TEA special.
Exactly.
If you haven't watched it, 3-part, go check them out. If you've never watched us before, go check that out. Or if you want a kind of shorter one, you don't want a 3-episode special, check out either our Summer Solstice one, that's with the Hera, that was last year in season 1. Or this season, you can watch our Love episode, which is a deep dive about Aphrodite. But you will then see this is just how we roll. This is we are deep dive people.
Exactly.
So you're about to get some fucking. You're gonna learn shit about Zeus you had no fucking clue.
Exactly. I'm about to rock you like a hurricane.
Yes, but there is a thing beyond just. Oh well, she was the nursemaid. She was the fucking
midwife.
The who delivered him and helped smuggle him, and she enchanted the rocks to look like
a baby.
Look like him for Kronos to eat, etc. It's deeper than that.
It's much deeper.
So so we will, but that's why there's enough to build a whole episode around it.
I will get briefly into it in this episode, but please know there's going to be another deep dive just about the two of them.
Yes, exactly.
So as we did just discuss some sacred numbers on in the news for the Mayan stuff, I thought that I would start this discussion off with Zeus and Jupiter's sacred numbers. Now, Jupiter's sacred number is 3, while Zeus's is 6. Zeus also sometimes uses 4, and that's more in the aspect of his shared dominions with Hera, because she's got the 4, 8, etc. numbers on her side. And if you're ever curious about that, watch our June solstice episode from last year. I get much more into that. So his sacred day of the week is going to be Thursday. And he also has monthly sacred days, which alternate on the 13th or 15th of the month. I know.
Anyway.
And then he's also got a separate one for one specific aspect, and that is Zeus Agathodemon, which is just kind of like a benevolent aspect of him, symbolized by a serpent. So that's going to be the second day of the Greek Attic calendar.
And what is that aspect?
So what it literally means is the good spirit.
Oh, okay.
So in that aspect, he's all about like the protection of the home, but it's also a little bit chthonic because that aspect is represented in the form of a serpent.
Yes.
So that in Greek households in classical Greece was observed on the second day of the Attic calendar.
Okay.
Every month. Hail Agathodemon.
Hail.
Yay. So I also thought we could get into some astrological correspondences with them, because there's a few that I find interesting. So as most of you who know anything about astrology will know, both Pisces and Sagittarius are ruled by Jupiter. There's also Cancer, and that is the sign of exaltation with Jupiter. But something that I actually find interesting is in the Greek astrological kind of creation myth. Cancer was the only sign that was specifically associated with the story of Hera. So the Cancer crab was the crab that she sent for Heracles, blah blah blah. But it's the only one where the myth of the creation of the constellation itself is explicitly associated with her. So I think that it's very interesting that planetary Jupiter has Cancer as its sign of exaltation. It just, as a witch who works with both of them, it very much feels like it symbolizes that despite many ups and downs in their relationship, that they will always be home to each other. And he will always be exalted in her. Like, I just really love that. That's how I see it anyway. And now...
Well, and I wonder too, like, I kind of feel like that also represents them as, like, you could say, and I know it's the knee-jerk reaction to be like, well, if anything, they're the god, patron and matron god and goddess of toxic, abusive marriages, or like that, like a toxic love, can't walk away shit. But you can also, because, you know, the gods are living beings, right? So, like, it's been eons now. It's 2026.
Exactly.
Like, I almost like to think it represents them as their aspect, like as the patron and matron, god and goddess of those who stick through it.
Exactly. Like, I think that that's one thing that I really admire about their love, is that it did go through millennia of ups and downs and lots of drama.
A lot of I don't know how to quit you.
Yes, exactly. But if you get into the liturgy of the Gigantomachy and how they did, through this war, like, they did reach a place where they were uncomfortably close to actually losing each other forever. And they could not do that. And so after the war was finished and they had won, they had a real reconciliation where everything was just laid out on the table because neither of them wanted to lose each other. And I think it was at that point where both came to each other in the most honest place that they ever had.
Yeah.
And it was after that their relationship could truly begin to heal.
Yeah.
So what I really like about them is that though they went through all of these times of upheaval, their love is strong enough to go through that and to survive. And I love that about them.
You know what that makes me think of too is like, it makes me think of my great grandparents, because when, you know, it's popular now, you see that thing, it was like, basically everyone's like, any woman in your family with her husband and married before women's lib, and before women can have their own bank accounts and credit cards, etc., and sign their own leases, etc., were in those marriages because they had no choice and they were trapped. And I see this rhetoric on social all the time, this like meme about it, and then you see it in the comments, and anytime someone comments and says, well, my grandmother and grandfather really loved each other, or whatever, like, no, they didn't. Like, no, your grandmother was trapped. Like, that's what they made you believe. Like, well, that has happened. Like, there were marriages like that, and there still are marriages like that. Both gay and straight, lesbian and straight, both bisexual and trans and mixed power. Like, there's so many reasons that people can still be in marriages like that for whatever reason. But there are marriages pre all of that were genuine. One of those being my great grandparents, who up until the day they fucking died, fucking loved the fuck out of each other. That was their love. That was it, right?
Exactly.
And after my great grandmother died, my great grandfather basically spent an additional 40 years every day sitting in his rocking chair, waiting to die to go be with her, because he loved her so fucking much, and did everything for her, and she adored him. But they had their ups and downs, and there was a point there. Now she was like Kent revivalist, Ozark. Well, she was Springfield, so she was a more cosmopolitan.
Oh yes.
Stock. Still country, still Ozark, but like just And I believe it was Springfield. It wasn't St. Louis, it was Springfield. And then my great grandfather was like hill folk. Yes, and logging and shit is what brought them to the Pacific Northwest, but he was going to the tavern a lot. He was drinking. And she was sober, fucking yay prohibition, like she yay woo woo. And my great grandfather, he wasn't abusive or anything, but he would get drunk and he would come home drunk and he just wouldn't go to church and he wouldn't do all that. Like, he was just honestly, I'm sure, like, from how I kind of understand it, it wasn't actually terrible. Like, it wasn't like he was like an actual horrible drunk. He just drank, usually, like regularly is the word I was looking for. You know, like one of the people who just just drink every day. He's one of the people who had to drink every day, like drank every day, went to tavern every day. But I guess it was definitely something she didn't want to put up with. And she flat out told him, she was like, I don't want to be with a drunk. Like, I remember the Dust Bowl was going on, coming out of the fucking like depression, like after effects of that, like still going on, like in the 30s, and like it just a lot happening. And she was like, basically, get your shit together, stop drinking, go have a drink anymore, blah, 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 or I'm never gonna be with you. And he quit fucking doing all that shit.
Good.
And like, because he wanted to be with her. He wanted to be with her. And never had a drink since, never been tempted. Like, and he proudly talked about that. Like, and he was never resentful about it. He was never, and my great grandmother always appreciated and loved him for that. But that's what that makes me think of, is that moment where she was like, I'm not going to be with you if you keep drinking. Like, I don't want that in my life. I don't believe in it because Jesus don't love it. Yada yada, hoo ha hoo. And which, you know, again, whatever, I drink, so I don't, whatever. But for them and that and their culture, like, I do understand it for the time. And, you know, when people were still horse and buggy in it, as well as, you know, some people didn't have automobiles at all. Many people didn't.
It was kind of a rich person.
So it was just, you know, different time. But really a different time. And especially if you think geographically, Missouri and the Ozarks and at that time, like, So yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I see a lot of people kind of dumping on their marriage because of all of the ups and downs. And I'm not downplaying that. The ups and downs were severe, to say the least, with them. But the fact that they came out of it and they had a true reconciliation and they are still happily together in the skies, like, I think that, at least for me, I have to honor and respect that.
Yeah.
Like, the longevity, the waking up every day and choosing each other, no matter the bright shining or the deep dark. Like, I love that. Anyway, so to finish our kind of overview of the astrological correspondences, so what I've been kind of interested by researching lately is astrological decans, wherein, although each sign has an overall ruler, the 3 decans within that sign also have a ruler.
Yes.
And I found out that 3rd decan Aries, so if your birthday is roughly April 10th to 19th, is actually ruled by Jupiter. And my birthday is April 18th, so it totally makes sense that I ended up working with him.
Absolutely.
So then also the 2nd decan Leo, so August 2nd to 12th, is a Jupiter as well as, of course, all of Sagittarius, but especially the 1st decan from November 22nd to December 2nd.
Oh, okay.
So I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't actually know that until a couple of months ago.
Oh, cool.
Now, interestingly, so through many references in like epithets and liturgies and things like that, like, we know that Hera had a gold crown.
Yes.
However, Zeus had one that was made of lapis.
Oh.
Yeah. I think this is really cool. So just to briefly touch on some etymology, lapis lazuli comes from the Latin word lapis, meaning stone, as well as the Persian word lazaward, apologies on pronunciations, meaning the sky or the heavens. So I think that is really cool. With the significance of the stone itself, it's all about confidence, intuition, higher wisdom, connection with earth and sky, as well as promoting intellect and visions. So I feel like thematically it makes total sense that would be the material of the throne.
No, agreed.
Also, it physically resembles a starry sky. I always think of that whenever I look at a piece of lapis jewelry, you know. He also, as Jupiter, he had an epithet, Jupiter Lapis, which in that context meant Jupiter who sends sparks.
Excuse me. Oh, I like that.
Yeah, I really like that too. So he did have 3 main forms that he was known by. And that would be of the sun, of the storms, and of balance. So with solar Zeus, he was usually depicted as kind of the physical embodiment of the sun, very like golden hair, like shining skin, blah, blah, blah. So some aspects of solar Zeus are Zeus Ammon, who is synced with Amun-Ra in Egyptian, Zeus Chrysaor, meaning golden arm, Zeus Heliopolites, synced with Helios, as you can imagine, and Zeus Teleios, which was specifically only used on Crete, and that just meant solar, which I love. So then Jupiter had Ammon as well. He also had Jupiter Diovis, which meant of the daytime sky. He also had Heliopolitanus, so essentially the same thing, Romanized.
Yeah.
Jupiter Lucetius, the shining light, and Jupiter Tigellus, the beam of the universe. So I love that. Then you've got Stormy Zeus. So that's kind of the form that most people in pop culture are more familiar with.
Yes.
Yeah, very dark, stormy.
We have horny and stormy Zeus. That's how we
exactly. Horny and stormy.
Yeah.
Now,
excuse me.
That Zeus, I would associate the most with Zeus Maimonides. I'm not going to get into all of the stormy epithets because we'd be here all day.
Right.
But I just specifically bring up that one because the epithet Maimonides, meaning of the storms, was the root of the Attic month, Maimocterion, which takes place between like November and early December.
Nice.
So in between kind of like Scorpio, Sagittarius seasons.
All of my stones.
Impeccably I flow, hard as raps breaking status quo, reaping what I sow, artistry like Van Gogh, get it from my mama hip so thick that I need tempo, personality spicy, body banging like a bongo, Cause black women been it since Timbuktu, since Pharaoh. Sponge rollers and hot combs, lips, cheeks, and brow bones. If you ain't for the culture, then please stay out of my zone. These little dummy rappers could never grace my headphones. See, I'm from a place in space where ain't no storytelling, you just had to have been there. If you want the battle, ain't no problem, say where. I got so much experience, I can't even play fair, but I'ma keep evolving.
Okay, so the third form that he has is Zeus of Balance, and he is often depicted with scales. And in that aspect, he's kind of the personification of the order of the universe.
Right.
And I also feel like there is a certain aspect of that where he has kind of evolved to learn how to balance his light and his dark.
Right.
You know? So that aspect would be Zeus Cosmitos, who is the upholder of cosmic order, as well as Zeus Nomos, the personification of law. And then Jupiter Centumpeda, who has the power of stability over everything.
Nice.
Which is really cool. I think I really enjoy seeing like the differences in all of those three forms.
Yeah.
And then on the occasions that he does have a fourth form, it's connected to the stars. So that is Zeus Asteropeitis, and that is the star creator, as well as Zeus Konios, who excites or makes dust.
Nice.
Yeah, so I think that's cool. He's not always depicted or explained with the four forms, but sometimes, yeah. Which it makes sense why that fourth form is related to the stars, because Hera is also a star deity.
Yes.
So
yes.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting.
Same with Hekate.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. He also has like 3 areas of major dominion, and of course.
Yes.
Sorry.
Of course.
Of course, the first being the skies.
Yes.
That's what most
people know
him for. But he also has both the earth above ground as well as the underworld.
Just like yes. Anyway, we said it's going to happen a lot. Just ride with it.
We did. We'll just drink every time.
Proceed. Yes. There we go. Okay, we're gonna drinking game this shit. Let's see how this goes. All right, let's take a drink for that then. There we go. All right, let's go.
All right, so his aspects that are very much like kind of the earth, like as a force of nourishment of the earth. So we have Zeus Epicarpios of the fruits. We've got Zeus Jorgos, the farmer. Zeus Thais, whose rains fertilize the earth. Jupiter Coulter, the cultivator. Jupiter Frugifer, who bears fruits, and Jupiter Pistor, the baker.
It's a baker, I love it.
I know.
So 3 different, not the same epithet, but 3 of the same meaning.
Yes.
It's HEKA-TEA, involving wheat, feeder of all. Yes, nurturer of the earth itself. Yes, all of those are epithets that HEKA-TEA holds.
That is so funny.
And my phone, which we're filming on, has my entire thing of epithets and what they are and what they translate to.
Right.
And I can't look at that right now.
Right.
So I will post them here. So go snap. Yeah, look at all those. Yes, all those related to what you just said. So let's take 3 drinks. Okay.
You know what? I was a little thirsty anyway.
Yeah, totally parched. Keep going.
Which, of course, brings us to the underworld. So I feel like we will be drinking with this one as well.
Probably.
So first we've got Zeus Epoptes. He is the watcher. It literally means the watcher, but in this context, it means the watcher over the living and the dead. Zeus Chthonios, which I know that's another one that they share. Zeus Melikios, which I'm going to get into in just a second, so let me just kind of breeze through so I can get to that. Zeus Serapis, as we discussed.
HEKA-TEA. Right. Isis.
Boop. As well as, and this might be a little surprising to some of you, but Zeus Hades is also very much a thing, and I will get into how and why that is.
HEKA-TEA Persephone.
Oh, yes.
HEKA-TEA Tori.
Right. Oh, man.
Okay.
So with that being said, I guess this may be an occasion that we have to take a drink, because I'm about to get into his serpent forms.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
we'll just take a preliminary one right now.
Yep. So Melikios literally means Zeus the Gentle, but like Agathodamon, is represented by a serpent who has the ability to pass in and out of the underworld whenever.
That's like 40 of HEKA-TEA's near 250
Yes.
epithets. So to save time and us, we're just going to have one drink because
drink.
we're not going to drink to all of hers that connect to just that one.
But it's interesting because this epithet specifically is about protection and it's about benevolence
Yes.
and blah blah blah. Like you can call upon Melikios for protection in times of struggle, you know?
Yeah.
And actually Hera has Melikios as an epithet as well. So
Oh, interesting.
yeah, that's one of their shared things. She has a lot of associations with the serpent as well, but that is one of them. So then we've got Egathodamon, which we already went over.
Yes.
And Egathodamon is more of like a household spirit. So like if you're needing protection over your home, making sure that like your family is safe, nothing is getting in, blah, blah,
Yes.
blah. That's kind of how you would pray to Zeus Egathodamon. A very similar one is Zeus Theos Agathos, which is essentially the same, but this means good god, literally. So it's kind of more of a spiritual protection, but is also identified with serpent form. So he's got various benevolent aspects. I'm not going to list all of the epithets out because it's a lot of aspects, but we're talking themes such as like protection over the home and barriers, like I just said, averting evil or illness, being a champion of the people as well as a protector of strangers or fugitives. There's numerous references. I think it's like 4 or 5 separate epithets just on the Greek Zeus side, not even talking about Jupiter, but that refer to him being a patron deity of friendship.
Oh, nice.
Which I think not a lot of people know.
No, I would. I mean, he did make a lot of friends for a while there, so
True.
I guess actually that does make sense.
Thank him for being a friend.
I'm sure a lot of ladies did when they went to the clinic. But that was for you, Hera. Just thought I'd get a little cut in for you.
Yeah.
Just get a little cunt in there for you, Hera.
I mean, she appreciates that, I'm sure.
I'm sure. I would hope so. I feel she does.
So as well as being an upholder of oaths and a punisher of those who break them. A champion of the good and a protector of the evildoer. So two epithets that I do specifically want to get into, which actually technically will be another thing because of the root of the word. But Zeus Katarsios, which I know that, is related to Hekateros.
Yes. And what does that translate to?
So on his side, it's kind of a double entendre epithet, but it refers, although the word itself means to purify,
Yes.
But in this context, it also means atonement.
Oh, yes.
In his situation, which ties in with the Zeus Pistios of fidelity.
Yes.
And how I kind of see that is, like we were talking about earlier in the episode, it was through like when he came at his marriage of like from a place of genuine contrition.
Yes.
That was what allowed it to become purified, because for so many millennia before, like a lot of the work that was being put into this marriage was one-sided.
Yeah.
And he was kind of doing I'm going to apologize and do things, but then I'm going to do the same things, you know? Whereas she was putting genuine work and effort into fixing this marriage and making it, purifying it, making it whole again. But she could only do so much when he wasn't meeting halfway.
Yeah.
So I consider Katarsios to be like referring to a time when he came at that from a genuine place, and then they were able to truly heal and purify the marriage.
Yeah.
And also become the most beautiful deities of marriage that they could be. Because I feel like one thing people also forget, because he is such a slut, is that Zeus is also a god of marriage.
Yes.
So I feel like it was kind of like that. That's how I see that epithet.
Yeah.
That after all of these centuries of blah and bullshit, he got to that place where he knew that that was what he needed to do, you know.
Right.
And I think it's something that he gives to his worshippers as well. You know? Anyway, so I thought that was something I did want to specifically get into, and also for a little bit of selfish reasons, because my middle name is Catherine.
Yes.
Spelled that way.
Yes.
So
which is derived from HEKA-TEA.
Yes. But also relative to this,
Yes.
but I think it's interesting that every form of Catherine derives from HEKA-TEA.
Yes.
But then if it's spelled with like a CA or a KATHA, it also has Parfumes influences. So I think it's really interesting.
So we're gonna drink to Catherine.
To Catherine. Now, of course, all of these benevolent aspects that I'm describing all exist alongside just as many dark and stormy, angry, blah blah blah,
Vengeful
aspects.
riotous.
Yes. And honestly, the more that I learn about Zeus, the more I see that he is very much a deity of duality.
Yes.
It's a big theme within.
Which would make sense, the connection to Janus.
Yeah, for sure. It's a very big theme both in his mythos and in him theologically.
Yes.
You know, so I think that's really interesting. Now,
sorry, can I just say really quick? This looks so practical magic.
It really does.
I really
It
like
does.
magic. I feel like Sandra Bullock. I should be like a movie cover, like right there, and I'm just like, it's like practical magic. It's like, it's so like funny. I did literally. Anyway,
there's a little witch in
There's a little witch in every woman.
Now, a lot of his cults were solar based.
Yes.
And they kind of had a different interpretation of him theologically than those who specifically worshipped, you know, Zeus of the Storms,
right,
for instance. Now, his solar cults were very much tied to the springtime and the returning sun. His festival of birth was observed during the spring equinox. In his solar cults, he was very much seen as, you know, a force that came to throw the world out of darkness and to return life and fertility to the earth. Now, of course, most of us know the legend of his birth.
Yes.
You know, being the sixth child of Cronus and Rhea, which again, sacred number 6 makes sense.
Yes.
And the deception, blah blah blah. So one thing I find really interesting about that legend, though, is as it was celebrated within the solar cults and as it was told within those cults. So, like during his birth, like the blood that was spilled upon the ground at the cave kind of rooted up and became the Curates who protected him later.
Yes.
As well as it was said that every spring equinox during the occasion of his birth, the blood that was shed during his birth would like bubble up from the ground and belch fire out of the caves.
Oh.
And I personally love that.
I do too.
Yeah, it just, obviously being born at the spring equinox would make him an Aries, and I feel like that's just a very Aries thing, you know?
It very much is an Aries thing to do, yes.
Exactly. Now, in some outer-lying solar cults that he had, there was a belief that he would die every year at the winter equinox and then be reborn in the spring. This was not in all of the solar cults, but in just kind of like a select few of them.
Yeah.
Which I think is interesting. However, I will say I do not personally believe that, and there's a couple of holidays that are the reason why.
Yeah.
So firstly, we've got Theogonia and the Teleos festivals. So the festivals of HEKA-TEA and Zeus Teleos. Those are observed on the 27th day of Gamilion. So it's like very deep in the winter. And they they celebrate like the occasion of their wedding as well as the divine union between them that has endured these many millennia. Now this year that fell on February 15th. Obviously there's differences between our calendar and the Attic calendar. It doesn't always fall on the same day. But this year it was February 15th, which I really liked because it was the day after Valentine's Day.
Yes,
I thought that was
fitting.
Cute.
Yeah.
However, like in antiquity, when these festivals were observed, there would be a high priest and high priestess essentially like playing the roles of them.
The vessels.
Yeah, the vessels. And they would have, you know, the festivity of the occasion of the marriage. Then they would ritually consummate.
Right.
And then after the consummation, that's when they would return to their own individual temples. to observe the festival of Teleos, which literally means the marital rite. So essentially, like, this was a celebration of their respective masculine and feminine enjoyments of marital sexuality.
Right.
I personally really like the occasion of HEKA-TEA because obviously Greece in the classical world was a very patriarchal society.
Yes, it was.
Very much. And it just seems like HEKA-TEA was just so needed for Greek women at that time.
Yes.
Because it was an occasion that through your worship of the goddess, you got to say, yes, I enjoy fucking my husband.
Yeah, I can have sexual agency. Not necessarily liberation.
No.
Because they weren't going to let that happen.
Yeah, it's still tied within the context of your marriage.
You can have agency. You're allowed to celebrate your agency.
Exactly. And I love that.
Cool, yeah.
Really, like, that's why I will always go all out for HEKA-TEA because I love that significance.
She masturbates. I mean, I don't know. I'm making it, but I kind of feel like probably what I would virtually jerk off.
Yeah.
Like it's like you're celebrating sexual agency and celebrating the enjoyment of orgasm. And if you don't necessarily have a partner to do that with, like, why would you not celebrate the pleasure of an orgasm anyway? You know what I mean? Like, come on, now we're pagans. This is what we do. We fucking do sexual shit sometimes. Like, we celebrate sexual liberation. So yeah, like,
I actually
ritually masturbate. Like,
exactly. I mean, this year I bought myself like a really nice set of lingerie.
Love.
And I made a specific HEKA-TEA playlist just for that aspect. And I did a lot of like ritual sexy dancing.
Love it. Yeah. Dusted off your stripper
I did.
metaphorically speaking.
Yes.
I'm sure you didn't actually strap them on.
No, I don't even own those anymore.
Right. She has this one pair that was nice for her on the mirror.
Like, they were 9 inches tall. I mean, it was weird. It was hot, but
she just go, wait, what the fuck?
I know. I had so many dudes who were like so shocked, and I would like get off them and be like an elevator. Anyway, so yeah, that's why I really do go all out for celebrating that occasion. Whereas I'm like, I will honor Zeus Teleos, but I don't do anything for it because frankly, it wasn't something that was as needed for Greek men at that time because the world was their festival of Zeus Teleos. Let's be real.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I'll pay my respects, I'll honor it, but I definitely get more crazy with HEKA-TEA for sure because of the significance. So another holiday that falls kind of during that same time frame of the year is the Dedala, and this observed like their first major reconciliation, not the one that ultimately led to them healing their marriage for good, but the first time that they had done a big reconciliation. So this was an occasion where she had just like reached the end of her tether with his bullshit.
Right. She was like, I'm at the end of my rope.
And she was like, I am leaving you. I am not coming back. Like, this is done. This is over. I'm outie, you know? And he desperately was like trying to make her change her mind. She was like, fuck you, like, divorce.
Right.
However, of course, he wasn't going to accept that. So he went down and visited Catharion, who at that time was despot in Plataea. And he was very known for his like cleverness. So what he suggested that Zeus do was to make like essentially an icon of Hera out of wood.
Right.
And to carry it wrapped up in a wagon and say that he was going to marry Plataea, the daughter of Asopus, who was not a real person.
Right.
So that's what he did. He staged this fake wedding to this wooden icon. And so of course she heard about this happening. And she decided to roll the fuck up.
Right.
Because
as you do.
Yeah. She was like,
Who's this
bitch?
Marrying my man.
Like, I don't want to be with him anymore, but fucking goddamn if any other bitch is going to be with him.
She's gonna kill him. If I can't have him even by my own choosing, no one else can.
Exactly. She was like, you're gonna remarry? The fuck you are. Anyway, so she decides to roll up and she like came right for the icon. She fucking like ripped off the veil, like big show. But so she sees that it's a wooden icon that's fashioned to look like her.
Right.
And he steps out and he's like, you know, I would never want to be married to someone else. And she enjoyed the deception. She was like, I have to respect the game.
Oh, nice. Cool.
So at that point, they reconciled. They, since, you know, a wedding was already set up, they remarried each other on that occasion.
Oh, nice. They vow renewal.
Yes, exactly. And she actually has an epithet that's specifically tied to this story.
In that moment, yeah.
And that is Hera Nymphigomene, and that means the bride who is carried, like as the wooden icon of her was carried.
I like that.
Yeah.
You can invoke her if you were for blessing on your vow renewal.
Exactly.
And that would make sense that if she is the goddess of marriage, that she would also have an epithet that's in a way, one way or another, also that's related to renewing your vows.
Exactly.
That's cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
See, so you are justified in your vow renewal.
Exactly.
Go on with your bad self, spend that money.
Exactly.
Go all out, have your princess again moment or prince again moment.
Exactly. Hera Nymphigomene wants you to.
Yeah.
Anyways.
And so do the wedding planners in the venue.
True. So I could not find an exact date for when this was observed, but roughly it was around March 10th.
Okay.
So for me, I don't necessarily ascribe to him dying in the winter equinox and then being reborn at the spring equinox, because multiple celebrations of their wedding, of their marriage, of their reconciliation, of them being together take place during those couple of months.
Right.
So I'm like, I just don't believe that they would always be separated during those times.
No, that seems very weird.
Yeah. But again, this was something that was the belief in like some outer lying cults, but it wasn't like majorly observed.
Right.
But that's just why I personally don't believe it.
Right.
Although I do work the closest with Solar Zeus.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of who comes to me the most often in my life, but I just kind of wanted to get it out there that like that's one aspect that I don't necessarily believe.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm gonna get into the syncretizations.
Oh, you do a lot of drinking.
Yes, we will.
Let me go. I'm gonna relieve myself then to make room for more. I'll be right back.
Okay, so we have returned. Room has been made.
Yes.
As I'm sure will be very, very necessary.
Yes.
Okay, so the first syncretization with Zeus that I'm going to talk about is Amun-Ra. Now, to preface this, Amun and Ra were originally two separate deities, and then they were kind of linked and synced with each other.
Yes.
Now, later, much after that...
And we will get into the Egyptian deities on the show soon, don't worry.
But that is not today.
No.
So... much later after that syncretization between the two of them happened, then you saw them being syncretized with Zeus, such as in Zeus Ammon, Jupiter Ammon, as well as Zeus Herasporos, which means the horn. Now, obviously, this is a very solar energy type of situation. They also had a shared temple location. At the Temple of Siwat Oasis near the Egyptian and Libyan border. Temples to both Amun-Ra and to Zeus Ammon were located there. So obviously, just to kind of briefly summarize, dominions over sky, the earth, and the underworld, shared things. Now, the ram-headed Ammon was actually Amun-Re. And he had dominions over the sun, air, virility, and creative energy. The ram's head symbolized hidden power, and he was also associated with the cobra as a symbol of his solar powers.
Interesting.
Yeah. So Zeus Ammon was depicted with ram.
Oh yeah, Amun-Ra.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So Zeus Ammon actually was also always depicted with ram's horns as well, to express the same. Next up, we've got the bee boy himself, Baal.
Baal in the house.
Through actually two of his epithets, and I'm talking about Baal Hadad and then Baal Zephon as well. So firstly, there's a lot of syncretizations just with Baal Hadad, so let me talk about those first. The ones that came from that, so we've got Zeus Adad, Zeus Adados, Zeus Akkad, all of, sharing the etymologies. Then we've got Zeus Heliopolites, Jupiter Heliopolitanus, as well as Jupiter Melesioprudes. Now, Baal Hadad itself was a double entendre epithet. referring to both the loud sound of thunder and to his mental fortitude, which I think is very relatable across both of them, you know.
Yes.
But Baal-Hadad was associated with a solar cult in Heliopolis, which was also known as Baalbek in Lebanon. This was the location of temples to Baal, Zeus, Jupiter, as well as some to Dionysus, Bacchus as well.
Yes, and that would make also sense, but also interesting.
Yeah. So another location of a temple was in Yabrud, Syria, which was where you get Jupiter Molest Yabrudes.
Oh,
so Constantine and Helen. We'll be here all day.
All day. We'll be here all day. I got 3 shows a week. 3 shows a week.
So today, the Constantine and Helena Cathedral sits at the former site of the Temple of Jupiter Molest Yabrudes.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And as in solar Zeus worship, Baal-Hadad, well, as in some solar Zeus worship.
I keep thinking of Bella Hadid.
Oh my god!
Oh my god, conspiracy theorists would like run with this
Literally.
right now.
Oh my gosh, I'm calling her Baal-Hadad from now.
Baal-Hadad, Bella Hadid. Oh my god, if I was a tin hat foil wearer right now, if I was Candace Owens, I'd put that right on my list with Macron's wife being secretly a trans woman. Like, are you fucking kidding me? I put that right after the conspiracy of Michelle Obama being a trans woman.
Yes.
Like,
oh
my god, Baal-Hadad, Bella Hadid. Oh my god, Illuminati.
Hilarious. I love it. Oh my gosh. I'm commenting that on all her pictures.
God, yes, you have to. Oh my god, we gotta get that trending. I want to see like legit conspiracy grow from this.
Yes,
and like
100%.
Bella Hadid is actually Baal-Hadad.
Oh my gosh, I need this to happen. So anyway, as in some solar Zeus cults, Baal-Hadad was considered to die in the winter and then be reborn in the spring, restoring fertility to the earth.
Just like Bella Hadid's career.
Exactly.
Yeah, anyway.
I wonder when the springtime is coming for her.
I think she's in a winter for a moment.
I think she is. Maybe next century.
Maybe.
All right, so next up, as promised, I'm going to get into Baal-Zephon a little bit. So this epithet links through Zeus's epithets, well, and Jupiter, but Zeus Cassius, as well as Zeus Lemniscopes and Jupiter Cassius.
Okay.
It literally means Lord of the North. So it's all about kind of the protection over maritime trade. The location is...
Oh my god, yeah, sorry.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway.
So the location is Jebel Akra on the Turkish and Syrian border, on the Mediterranean near the mouth of the river Orontes, which, oddly enough, in the Abrahamic faith, this is mentioned as the location of the parting of the Red Sea.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
That never happened.
Right. But, you know, that's where it supposedly occurred. Chosen people. Anyways, so the reason that it was mentioned as that is because it's a mariner's landmark that gathers thunderstorms. So that's where these temples were located, as well as like it's just a location where people would go to honor his protection over, you know, maritime situations. So yeah, Zeus Lemniscopes, that is kind of the protector of the harbor, which I know is another shared epithet with HEKA-TEA. And Zeus and Jupiter Cassius, that refers to Mount Cassius, which is where that temple was locacated. Also, my last name is Casey.
Yes,
so
which,
I kind of love it.
Yeah, that's funny as fuck.
I know, it's really funny that like my first, middle, and last names all kind of link back to
Yeah, that's hilarious.
It's really funny. But yeah, so super cool. So next up we do have Diana and Janus through Jupiter Dianus. Now, Dianus was considered to be the masculine equivalent of Diana, representing the sun and light. So essentially a very Apollo.
Yes. Which, of course, also HEKA-TEA being the Aglaos.
Yeah, exactly.
The fucking Crataeus, the Dawnbringer, The rosy cheeks, rosy fingers of dawn.
Exactly. And a lot of these saints you'll see like have to do with both solar and underworld, just like she does.
Yes.
So
let's just have a big drink to that.
Big drink to that.
So that big drink will just cover all the things she's about to list.
Right. So the earliest form of the name Janus in usage was Diana. Now, I just said that. Dianus was seen as Diana's counterpart. So through Jupiter Dianus, he's linked to both Janus's bright sunshine as well as Diana's night and lunar aspects. And also Hekate, because Hekate Diana.
Hekate Diana. Yeah, Diana Hekate. Again, if you're like, wait, what? Because you're new here, our 3-part Eyes of Hekate special. Go check that out.
Go watch it. So next up, we got Serapis.
Same thing. Same advice.
Same advice. Now, just to kind of briefly summarize, Serapis is a syncretized Greek and Egyptian deity linking Zeus, Hades, and Helios to both Osiris and Apis, who was a sacred cow and son of Hathor.
Yes.
And by that association...
And through the sacred cow is the other association where... Because I actually think I left this out of the Eyes of Hekate. But when we talk about Hekate Isis, one of the other relations is Hekate the bullheaded and Hekate the protector of cows and the herder of oxen and the sacred bull. So, and again, these epithets you will be seeing on your screen right now.
Yes. So originally, the name was Osiris Apis, and then over time it got contracted into Serapis.
Yes.
But through Serapis,
it's like Brangelina.
Yeah, exactly. It is
Brad and Angelina. Brangelina. Yeah, it's the same thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. We're here all lunar cycle, folks. All lunar cycle.
I feel like Brangelina should be one of Zeus's epithets.
Oh my god, Zeus Brangelina. Oh my god, yes. You have to like light a super, super expensive bougie candle, but then spritz the air as Dracoir Noir.
Yes. Or to make it a little more Greek, Zeus Brangelinos.
Yes. Yes. Oh my god, I love it. Yes.
Anyway, so since
oh my god, and but remember how they got together?
Yeah.
Because that was like his infidelities on Aniston.
Yes.
Like,
exactly.
Oh my god, it does actually kind of work. You could
work.
relate it to Zeus. Oh my fucking god. See, the deities are working through us, through living life today, folks. Through living life today. You just need to look at your people and us weekly to see the deities working in real time. Exactly. All the time.
All the time. Or your mirror.
Or your mirror. Anywho, sorry.
Anywho, so we've got Apis and Osiris on the Egyptian side, and then on the Greek side, we've got Zeus, Hades, and Helios.
Yes.
So, through Serapis, not only are they each linked with both Osiris and Apis, but they are all linked to each other. So through that, they each, both with Helios and Zeus, and as well as Hades and Zeus, they each had each other's names as epithets. So like you saw like Zeus Helios, or vice versa, you saw Zeus Hades, and vice versa.
Right.
Now, obviously, the connection with Helios speaks to the solar cults, such as like both Zeus and Jupiter having epithets that derive from Helios' name.
Yeah.
Obviously, with the Osiris and Hades connection, very much associated into the underworld, which I think is interesting because it links Zeus and Hades together in a way that neither brother is linked with Poseidon.
Right.
You know,
that is really interesting.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting, and I feel like it provides kind of a context with the whole Tori Persephone story.
Agreed.
And why like Zeus said yes to that request.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, it does.
Like,
it does. You have a special bond, special synchronicity that you're like, yeah.
That you're like,
bro, I'll give you extra help. You can kidnap and rape my daughter, sure.
Right.
Sure.
But whereas
We're bro, yo.
It's bro code. But yet I feel like had Poseidon made the same request, he'd be like, no.
Yeah, he'd be like, fuck you, dude. Go be somewhere else, grandpa.
Exactly. So the next sync that I'm going to get into, I might ruffle some Christian feathers with this.
That's what we do here.
Exactly. So the next sync is the good old JC.
Jesus Christ. Jesus Cristo, Alegro Pogo.
Exactly. So what I will first preface this is what the syncretization is not.
Okay.
So there is a misconception out there that the name Jesus meant Hail Zeus, which it did not.
I've heard that,
Yes.
yeah.
No, the original name also was Yeshua,
Yes.
which is a completely different etymological root. It has nothing to do with each other.
Right.
So that theory is completely unfounded and untrue.
Yeah.
But they do have a link through a couple of other things. The first being the epithets Zeus and Hekate, as well as Jupiter Jehovah, both of which just mean the Most High. But obviously Jehovah grew into
Right. The name of God.
a very, very different connotation than it was originally used.
Right.
But those are the epithets that link them, as well as like there's a lot of themes through their mythos that link them together. For instance, being the divine child who returns as the savior, the dying and being reborn in the springtime, the connection to magic and miracles. A lot of liturgical aspects of Christianity lift certain expressions directly from Zeus's worship, such as the expression the Alpha and Omega, that is literally direct quote taken from his liturgies. King of Kings, Father of all, those were all of his epithets, as well as actually the story of Noah's Ark.
Oh.
So let me kind of break this down for you. So basically how this originated was Zeus went to like a feast that he was being hosted at the home of King Lycaon. And King Lycaon decided to serve him a human sacrifice that he neither consented nor asked for. And
God's gonna always want the human flesh. It's always just like certain time.
Yes. So on this occasion, he did not ask for it. He would not have asked for it.
Right.
So he was like, "Bitch, you are a wolf." Like,
right.
So he turned him into a wolf, and that was how the first werewolf came about.
King Lycaon.
Yeah. But after this whole situation had happened, Zeus was kind of like, I mean, but basically he was like, look, humanity has become fucking disgusting. Like, this has gotten away from me. I don't like, this is gross. So he decided to send a big old flood to wipe out humanity. And he had like two people that were worthy of living because they were not assholes. So he had them as the two sole survivors, and what he told them to do was to cast stones upon the body of their mother to repopulate the earth. You know, he wasn't going to make them do it all at once. And they at first were like super confused about what he meant by that, but eventually they realized that he was instructing them to throw the stones into the waters, and the waters were the body of their mother. So they did that. They repopulated with a new breed of humans that came after that, who were supposed to be like more moral and better. You know, improving on the previous ones. Right. And that is actually where we get the expression, "Let he who is not guilty of sin cast the first stone." So yeah,
that's interesting. It also comes from the Epic of Gilgamesh.
Oh yes, that's true.
Go back to the. Just want to make sure that we show that we are educated people. Do understand and know that it comes from a much older tradition based out of ancient Sumeria.
That's true. It does.
But they also
it does come from that as well.
Yes,
but this is also a use of it.
Yes, correct. But that's because it was the flood story was an evolving thing. Now, of course, they do. The thing is with the Sumeria, Iran area part of it there actually is archaeological evidence of a great flood that took place, and where they. From that perspective, at the time, if you were floating along, you looked out, it would look like the entire world was flooded. You would think you wouldn't see anything, there was nothing. And so from there, then we get the story that then translates the Epic of Gilgamesh that we get of the first great flood, which then proceeds to later world, Greece, and or later societies until the Abrahamics. But there is a factual seed for the Great Flood. It's just not what like the Christians think, and there isn't some structure of the great ark buried in a mountain or whatever. That's just a fucking shadow. But there is a seed of a great but it wasn't like a great flood that flooded the world. It was like just as far as the eye could see in the cradle of life.
Yes. But yeah, that's one of the things from Zeus liturgies that was very much adopted.
Yes.
And there are, if you look, there are quite a few things like that.
Yes. Well, and and so much of Zeus, with the image, I mean, you go into Sistine Chapel, what you see when you see the god and man. And Michelangelo pulled from Zeus to create his image of God. Like, what I find so funny is so much of the Christian idea, imagery. If you ask a Christian to like describe God to you, how they see him, how he is, they describe fucking Zeus. What they have is, but they don't realize. They don't put together. Oh, it's what I learned in elementary school, like in the school library from the librarian reading us like the Lories, the Greek mystery. Like, people don't realize their formulation of God, even from the Bible. It's Yahweh is a storm and mountain and war God. Like, so even from the Bible, what their brain creates in their head, though even they think it's from the Bible, their brain is actually taking it from what they know of Zeus, Jupiter.
Yes,
like,
exactly.
Oh God, it's so funny.
Anyway, so the next one is Marduk.
Oh yes.
And that relates to Zeus and Belos. Belos being derived from Marduk's title of Bel, which in Akkadian means Lord or Master. So the etymology of Marduk's name itself means calf of the sun or solar calf, which of course then translates to Zeus in his solar forms.
Yes, and it's how from Marduk we get to Inanna, Ishtar, which then we get to HEKA-TEA, Inanna, and HEKA-TEA, Ishtar, Queen of Heaven, Queen of the Underworld, Queen of the Stars. So let's take a sip. And proceed.
So Marduk's dominions were essentially creation, justice, water, agriculture, medicine, and magic. Boom.
Literally all.
His sacred animal, and I'm gonna butcher the pronunciation, so I apologize, but was a Mushusu, which was a combination of a dragon, a serpent, an eagle, and a lion. Both Marduk and Zeus Jupiter had lapis lazuli as a sacred stone as well. Next, and I know we're gonna have to drink for this one, but Sabazios.
Yes. Explain away.
So this links to Jupiter Sabazios, who is depicted riding a horse. It is a benevolent aspect. He is a sky and storm god, but also a god of ecstasy, associated with serpents, had mystery traditions, as well as orgiastic rites, and was worshipped alongside Kybele.
Yes. Cheers to Kybele, by the way.
Kybele.
One part of the original HEKA-TEA triple aspect.
Exactly.
Or I guess Kybele triple aspect, really, because it's Kybele then Hermes HEKA-TEA. So, but anyway, let us proceed.
So, as you know, Rome expanded their empire, they decided they were going to acquire some Celtic lands. You know? They rolled up on that horse.
Yes.
So as that happened, and as they began to kind of colonize that area of the world, a lot of the Roman deities did get synchronized with Celtic deities.
Yes.
So there's a couple that are more specific to the links with Jupiter from that time period. And the first one was Jupiter Paninos. The name Paninos means he who rules from the peaks. And specifically Paninos, the Celtic deity, was associated with the Pennine Alps at the Swiss and Italian border. Now Paninos sometimes gets conflated with Pananus because both are Celtic mountain and wildlife gods. However, they are actually separate deities and are not linked or synced together. So I think that's an important thing to mention. Then there is Sicelus, who's linked with Jupiter Sicelus, as well as Zeus Lycaios, who we just talked about with the wolf situation. The etymology of Sicelus is the good striker. As a Gallic/Roman deity, he was linked to agriculture, wine, and fertility, as well as protection from wolves. He was usually shown carrying a mallet and bowl and wearing a wolf skin. He was also chthonic and maintained boundaries between the living and the dead. Then we have Tyrannus, who became linked later with Jupiter Tyrannus. In the context of Jupiter, this means of the wheel. In Jupiter's context, it was very much kind of associated with his dominion over the seasons of the year. But Celtic Tyrannus was also associated with the wheel and with the seasons as well. He was worshipped in France, Britain, and Western Germany. His dominions were thunder, lightning, and storms, so it was very much like an easy connection between the two of them. Symbol was the thunderbolt as well as a spoked wheel symbolizing the seasons and the sun, which is the reason why Jupiter is represented by the Wheel of Fortune card in the tarot. Now, Tyrannus did receive human sacrifice via burning and has actually been linked to Wicker Man style rituals.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Interesting indeed. So that is the sinks that I have to discuss. So now I'm going to move on to the next section, which is associations with magic.
Yes.
So obviously, given that he is also a sky deity, I'm sure it's no surprise that several epithets refer to him as like ethereal or celestial.
Right.
But one epithet that I found really, really interesting, which I know for reasons we're going to be drinking at this one, but is Zeus and Hekate, and this is a reference to the Oracle of Zeus at Dodona, which is the oldest Hellenic oracle and dates to the 2nd millennium BC. It's located at a sanctuary dedicated to both Zeus and the goddess Dione. It's in Epirus at Mount Tomaros. Unlike Delphi, which was usually consulted for like political reasons, Dodona was more of like a personal oracle.
Right.
Like priests and priestesses divined messages through the rustling of the leaves in the sacred oak tree, and surviving tablets addressed questions to both Zeus and Hekate and Dione, such as, should I marry this man? Will someone steal this? Etc. So it's very much queries about daily life, which I find really interesting. But I know that, if I'm not mistaken, Hekate had Dione as an epithet as well, didn't she?
Yes, she had one related. Like,
One
yes,
related, yeah.
Not exactly, yes, she did, yes.
Yeah. As did Hera, actually. So I feel like that's just one of those other things that make sense. So then we've got epithets like Zeus Panamphios and Simonios, and those refer to him as the giver and origin of signs and omens. Then there is Zeus Patroios, whose worship is extended down through the family line. So like that would be like, my father worships Zeus, I worship Zeus, my son worships Zeus, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Like as my patron, not
right.
in general. But occasionally it was also connotated with talk of reincarnation. So like if there was a soul, a spirit that Zeus really favored, like he would send them to the earth on multiple occasions throughout time. That also kind of ties into an epithet of Hera Pamphoitos, which means who will come again.
I mean, I'll come with so many times.
But that had like a similar context.
Yes. Sorry, folks. We gotta be entertaining
You're
ourselves.
You're
I'm total self.
You are. So then we've got Jupiter Arcanus, the protector of arcane knowledge. And then Jupiter Strigonus, and that was localized to the Campania region of Italy. Major cities there, like Naples and Salerno is where that's located, if you don't know. But under that epithet, he was specifically worshipped as the father of witches and vampires.
Yes. And HEKA-TEA both has epithets. Obviously, many as mother of witches. But also does have HEKA-TEA Impuza, which means HEKA-TEA vampire. And then she has, I can't remember what the actual epithet is, but it translates to blood drinker. And then, but specifically as HEKA-TEA Diana, she has the companion epithet to
Strigonus?
Yes. Which is like HEKA-TEA Diana or Diana. You could either just say HEKA-TEA Diana or Diana HEKA-TEA. Strigoius?
Oh, okay.
Strigoinus or whatever, or Strigoius, so the female Strigoi. But I think it's predominantly like you just say Diana Strigoius or HEKA-TEA Strigoius, however you want to say it, but yeah.
Cool. And I mean, like we said, they share such a
So
lot
many,
in
and we
common.
will
We
have
will
that,
definitely get
yeah.
into that. But just to kind of do like a little brief overview for right now, there's many synchronicities across both like their dominions and their epithets, even like their sacred objects as well. They also shared altars sometimes.
Yes, many a temple you would go into. It would either be that you would go in and they would be side by side, or you would go on around. You'd walk in and either you would be greeted with HEKA-TEA, and on the other side of HEKA-TEA would be Zeus, or vice versa. You walk in, there's Zeus. You walk to the other side, and there would be HEKA-TEA.
Yeah.
There would also be statues of Zeus holding HEKA-TEA in his hand, and also vice versa of HEKA-TEA holding Zeus. So they were frequently seen together.
Very linked. They also both presided over protection of barriers, both of cities and in individual homes. A lot of the times, like you would come up to like someone's front gates of their home, and you would see statues of both HEKA-TEA and Zeus together protecting the home. But we will get further into that. I just wanted to kind of give like a
but we'll save all that for the other episode.
Yes.
See, now you got to come back. You got a reason.
You
got a reason to come back now. You got to get that other episode.
Exactly. So next, I kind of want to go over some sacred colors with him, and you'll get to find out why we're wearing some pink.
Yes.
So his main two sacred colors were, in fact, gray, as in the storm clouds, and then pink. Now, of course, pink was a very masculine color at that time.
For a very long time, actually.
It has now changed in connotation, but it was very much seen as a masculine color and interpretation. For many millennia before that. And Zeus enjoys both red and pink, but he has a slight preference for pink. Many of his like artistic interpretations of him show him in pink robes. In fact, that most of them show him in his pink.
Yes, this is true. Yeah.
I think it's actually quite rare that I've seen one in another color. But yeah, other colors. He also has white, green, some shades of blue, but it's like very specific shades. Both gold and yellow to symbolize the lightning. But I did kind of want to get into a connection between him and Hera, with specifically relating to the color pink. So obviously, pink is one of his main colors. He prefers it over most of the others. However, Hera, specifically the use of pink in her worship was as a protector during childbirth. Now again, I think that a kind of contextual thing that needs to be discussed is like during this time it was very patriarchal. Everyone wanted boys. You know, so a lot of the times when people were praying to Hera for assistance in their pregnancy or in their childbirth, they are not only going to her in hopes that they will survive, but they're going to her in hopes that they will come out of it with a male heir. And that it will be a super strong, take charge man. When that child grows up. So people started appealing to her in that aspect through the use of Zeus's sacred color to say, please bless me with a son that is as strong as your husband. You know. So that is why that color is specifically associated with childbirth for her.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, it's really cool, and I love that it's just such a strong connection between the two of them. They also both have epithets specifically regarding protections over childbirth. Now, of course, obviously that's one of her main dominions, so of course she has that. But I think not a lot of people know that Zeus does as well. So he's got Zeus Genethios, which is literally Zeus of birth. And on the Roman side, the epithet Jupiter Adventus means the same thing, arrival or birth. And then Zeus Lacheates, which I think is very interesting. It means specifically the protector in childbed, which I think is really cool. And then, of course, we've got Hera Olympia, as well as Hera Ombron Meter, which means the mother of storms. But I think like that epithet is kind of interesting because it not only is referring to like her actually creating storms and nourishing the winds and feeding the actual literal storm, but it's also like a reference to her being like a fierce like maternal protector and a protector of her own children. It's very like what we call a mama bear today, you know.
Right.
So I love that that's a shared dominion between them that not a lot of people talk about. Juno Rumina and Jupiter Ruminus, that epithet literally means the protector of all living things, but contextually it was most associated with animals, infants, and breastfeeding mothers. The verb rumina literally means like to nurse.
Interesting.
So I thought that was interesting, as well as like if you also think about the fact that that her sacred color was blue and his most sacred one was pink, and even today pink and blue both endure as colors of
I was
babies,
just thinking about that, but now in reverse, where the blue is for the boy and the pink is for the girl.
Exactly.
Which is so funny that that's like the thing about the gender like binary,
exactly.
And yet it's like in a way you're transing your child anyways
True.
because you're giving a girl color to the boys and a boy color to your daughter.
Exactly.
So
it's like,
you, in the end, you have no one to blame but yourself if you're transphobic and if you don't like your trans child.
Exactly.
It's your fault for celebrating and assigning them a gender without their consent or their identity and not bending and allowing for them to be who they are. So, yeah, if you don't like trans people, that's your fault. That's the way it is, so fuck you.
Exactly. But yeah, it's kind of interesting that like those colors were initially used because like every Greek wanted their baby boy to be blessed by Zeus and their baby girl to be blessed by Hera.
Right.
You know.
Right.
I also think it's super interesting, just to go on a little etymological rant for a second, that the words for sperm and egg, so gamete, and then the words for an early development, like future embryo, zygote, both originate from one of their shared epithets to do with their marriage. So we've got the word gamelios, which is like referring to kind of like their wedding, essentially, like when it was fresh and new and all that shit. And then the epithet zygios, which refers to the marital yoke, so like the connection that ties you two together, blah blah blah. Very much about like their divine union and the eternalness of them together.
The eternal flame.
Yes. So I just think it's really interesting that like the words that we use today to refer to like what will eventually become a conception and then a new conception literally comes from their words.
Yeah, no, that's
like,
really interesting.
I love that.
Can't get away from paganism. It's everywhere.
Now, interestingly enough, the way the names Zeus evolved into Jupiter. So the original pronunciation of Zeus, we butcher it really badly in English. That's not how it was said. It was more like Dias. Which then evolved into Diespiter, and then Jupiter, and then Jupiter later.
Interesting.
Yeah. And one other thing that was really cool is so you know how the Roman deities, like they had their deities prior to the merge with the Greeks.
Yeah.
So the original Roman deity, who was called Father of the Day, was Dis Pater. And Dis in this context was a contraction of the word divitis, meaning riches. So he was seen as the god of the riches of the subsoil. Now,
cool.
Now, once the Greek merging happened, he was actually evolved into Pluto. So it's interesting that the word for that original name, Dis Pater, although he eventually, they knew him by Pluto, is very, very etymologically similar to Diespiter, the original earliest form of Jupiter. And I think that just shows that connection between Zeus and Hades just continued to endure.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's really interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Now to get into a little more on the Roman side, I want to talk about the practice of Confarreatio and the Emer cake, which was sacred to Jupiter Farius. Now, there were three major forms of Roman marriage. This one was the most solemn and religious of marital ceremonies. it was only for patricians, and it involved the bride and groom sharing a sacred emmer cake in front of the Pontifex Maximus, the high priest, as well as 10 witnesses. And they
So kind of like a wedding cake.
yeah, and they would actually feed that to each other as part of the ceremony. Now, emmer is a type of farro that is native to the Fertile Crescent. However, like today in the U.S., if you see like farro in a store, it's actually specifically only emmer that is available in the U.S., which I think is interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
So that's what I have up in my cabinet.
Oh, yes, exactly.
Oh,
that is
interesting.
emmer. So, like the other types of marriage, this passed the manus, which is the legal control of a woman from her father to her husband.
The legal control of a woman from her father to her husband, which we still have today.
We do.
The father gives away the bride.
Exactly.
Oh, God.
Although there was a loophole to this, not in this specific type of marriage, but in another one of their forms. But I don't have time to get into that today, but we will definitely talk about it in a later episode because it's actually really interesting. But so if you were married by confarreatio, divorce was difficult and very complex to attain. So, yeah. Now, Jupiter Farius was associated with both the practice of confarreatio, the ritualistic sharing of the cake, as well as the cake itself. And of course, this practice evolved over the centuries and millennia into like the cake smash that we see at weddings today, which I think is really cool. So both Vestal virgins and the Flamandialis, who was the high priest of Jupiter, were required to have parents who were married by confarreatio. Now, obviously, the Vestal virgins did not marry themselves, but the Flamandialis were required to also marry by confarreatio.
Interesting. Okay.
In fact,
So the same rules that kept Vestal virgins required them to get married.
yes.
How interesting. That I get. See, I love the world.
I
love
know,
history.
exactly.
It's just so interesting.
And in fact, like the being married was a huge part of the role of Jupiter's high priest.
Right.
Like for instance, they had to be married to be eligible for the position, and if their wife died, they had to step down because they were no longer eligible.
Wow. I love it.
I know.
I mean, I don't, but I just love the intricacy of it.
I know, it's really, really interesting.
And the Christians love to be like, marriage is ours. Like, bitch, like, you guys, again, it's just something y'all appropriated and it's trying to own as yours, but it's not. It's
exactly.
Oh, God.
So the Flamandialis, in that aspect, was considered to be the earthly representative of Jupiter.
Yeah.
Constant priest of Jupiter, as such, like had a big catalog of rules that they had to follow, things they could and couldn't do. They wore an apex, which was a point-tipped hat made from the skin of a white cow or a sheep that had been sacrificed to Jupiter.
Interesting.
And it was kind of like
a conical,
precursor to the conical hat.
Just without the brim.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's really cool, especially given his connections to magic and witchcraft.
Yeah, no, that is amazing.
Yeah.
It makes me think of that, I think, Goya painting of the ones where they look like they're just all wearing the dunce caps and they're like just the cone and they're all floating. And, as you see here.
Exactly. So in the context of the priesthood, there were 15 flamines, as well as 3 high priests, one serving each god in the archaic triad of Jupiter, Mars, and Quirinus.
Interesting.
So the Flaminica Dialis, like her husband, had to be patrician born to parents married in confarreatio. She had to be a virgin at the time of the marriage. They could not divorce if she died. He had to resign. And interestingly, I think this is cool. So on the Nandina, which is every 9th day, the Roman calendar had 8 days. So this would be marking the beginning of the new week. She would sacrifice a ram to Juno Regina in the New Moon Temple on the southwest flank of the Temple of Capitoline Jupiter.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's really cool. Now, of course, then Christianization happened.
Yes.
I feel like with the links with Baal, there has just kind of been a consistent demonization of Zeus and Jupiter that is continuing even today in both pagan and classicist circles.
Yes, and we experienced that with Baal ourselves at that barbecue.
Exactly. Yeah, I see a lot of misinformation out there being spoken on Zeus and Jupiter's name, and I see a lot of like limited understanding of the deity that he is. So that's kind of why I wanted to do this deep dive, because there really is so much more to him.
Yeah.
Okay, so one last little interesting tidbit before we officially close out this topic. So this is just kind of jumping back on the affinity for the color pink.
Yes.
So one thing that was really interesting that I actually read an article about recently was that during one of those archaeological excavations, I believe that this was at one of his temples that's across the Syrian, or not the Syrian, the Turkish border. But it was discovered that there were stands outside of his temples where pink eyeshadow would be sold. So when you were going into worship at the temple of Zeus, you could buy your pink eyeshadow, put it on, and then enter the temple.
Right, if you don't already have some at home, girl.
Exactly. Which I thought was really cool. Like, I mean, not only just from like a historical standpoint, I love stuff like that, but also as a modern day worshiper of Zeus and as a witch that loves to like
wear color.
Well, that too, but also, I was going to say, as a witch that loves to come at my devotion through like a historical, contextual standpoint, like I really love to do things for my deities that connect me not only to them, but to the thousands, millions of people who have worshipped them before me.
Right.
So, after reading that, like I started wearing pink eyeshadow before my rituals, and I'm actually wearing it today. Because I just thought that was a really, really fascinating discovery, and I love it.
Well, and isn't it interesting that it's something that you can, a practice that was done eons ago, and that you can still do today, and actively find today to still take part in.
Yes, absolutely.
So I think that's really cool.
Really cool, and I love those little moments when you discover things like that.
And guys and girls would be wearing the pink eyeshadow. So like, it just, makeup is for everybody. Just have fun with it. Well, thank you so much for like giving us a Zeus deep dive. And like I said, I learned things that I didn't even know, and that's kind of what the show's all about. Is doing that and showing you guys things and learning things that maybe you didn't know, because it's kind of obscure and you don't hear about it all the time.
Exactly.
And
I think we have both learned so much through the process of putting on this show about so many different magical topics, whether it's dating.
Yeah, I know. And that's just like one of the really cool things about doing this show is the fact that we just learn all of these amazing things right along with you guys.
Absolutely.
Yes, there's a lot of things we know, or there's things that we half know about. And so then we're learning just like some new things about things we already know about. But then, of course, just like with you guys, there's also things that we don't know anything about, and then we don't learn about until we start researching for the show. And that can even involve stuff with our own deities that we work with.
Exactly.
Because maybe in the course of researching for an episode, you read a publication, you read a book or whatever that maybe on your deity or on this subject that maybe you've never read before.
Exactly.
And so then even though it's not something you're like, know backwards and forwards, you still end up learning something new, because you end up learning from a new material just by happenstance.
Yes.
So yeah, I just love that about our show.
Oh, I know.
All right. So next up, we once again return to the very misty and dewy and gray and cold and not really sure what decade it is town of Greendale to once again join Sabrina Spellman, her aunts Hilda and Zelda Spellman, her cousin Ambrose, her familiar Salem, who's finally returned and like we're seeing more of now, and unfortunately still Kinkle and Co. at Baxter High, and all the other assholes at the Academy and at the Church of Night.
So many assholes.
So many assholes. And Miss Rodwell. For another thrillingly, chillingly, wonderfully strange and ridiculous episode of The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, the rewatch. This, of course, is Season 2, Episode 2, The Passion of Sabrina Spellman. So the episode literally picks up where we left off, which is Lilith being like, "What the fuck, Satan?" with your kinky broken horn in her living room about Sabrina. And she's like, "What's the deal?" And he's like, "Sabrina is going to be my herald." He's basically, they didn't want to use the term Antichrist, but essentially she's the fucking Antichrist. So Lilith is all pissed. And she's like, well, in order for her to do that, she'd have to sin. And Sabrina will never sin. She's like, so I bet you that if Sabrina doesn't sin, then I get to be your herald, me, tra-la-la-la-la. And he's like, girl, she's gonna sin. And he is like, but done. But if I am correct and she sins and she's willing to do my bidding, then you're gonna shush your mouth and you are going to just like praise me as the all-being, and you're just gonna stop questioning stuff. Basically, I know I made you think it was cool that you told Adam that you were not gonna ride him, that you weren't gonna like be underneath him, and that you would only ride him or be on his side, and he was like, "Nah, girl," and so you fled. And I know I made you think that was cool, but nah, I just like a woman who's a challenge, and I just wanted to see if I could break you and get you to not be so independent, woman. Like, it just...
Yeah.
So, boo, whatever. But they agree because they both think, of course, I'm gonna win. So the Dark Lord commands Sabrina to steal a pack of chewing gum, and so she goes to Cerberus, Lord Cerberus Cafe. Cerberus, the magickal, I don't know. And she goes there, and there's all these, like, the wrappers are all recognizable chewing gum brands, but the names are like spooky.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's kind of fun, like Ghoulie Chews, like, and like instead of Juicy Fruit, like it's like, or Ghoulie Fruit, like it was like, so she's like, I don't want to do that. And she goes, but then like Miss Rodwell, Radwell, Roxwell, Lilith, Hell Queen, whatever she wants to be called, she shows up and she's like, Sabrina, you weren't going to steal that, were you? Which, by the way, where would you have conceived that? Because she literally just, like, picked up the gum. Like,
I know.
She could have just been turning around and walking up to the counter. Like, it was very, like, what do you mean? But whatever. Like, she just literally picked it up. And Miss Robin was like, are you stealing that? But Sabrina was like, no. And she, like, takes off. And then the Dark Lord's all pissed off. The Academy of Dark Arts is doing the Passion of Lucifer, their passion play, and of course it tells the story of the fall of Lucifer, including the temptation of Lilith, although Lilith got with Samael, not Lucifer, so, okay, and Samael was an archangel, so, yeah, okay, whatever, but it wasn't Lucifer, but, okay, and Father Blackwood appoints Aunt Zelda to be the director and the allocation coach for the play, which angers the teacher, Sister Shirley, because they're all brother and sister and mother, father, blah, blah, blah. That there's like a whole like there's a whole Mean Girls plot going on, subplot between Zelda and the other staff still. And they're like, Zelda, you're the whore of Babylon, and they start doing like witchy pranks on her that are like borderline, which I mean they're malicious and they're gross, but they're also not like, I don't know. I don't think the intent is to kill Zelda. I just think it's intent to just like piss her off and scare her and drive her away.
Right.
But it's still enough that I would want to kill a bitch too, though, just to say. Like I would be like, oh, I don't care. Like you may not want to kill me, but now I want to kill you.
Right. Which is kind of where she goes with it.
Yeah, and she just finds Sabrina, at the meanwhile, continues to find herself getting pitted by the Dark Lord to like do shit, and Miss Swallow poking in and being like, no. And so she's like, I don't know what to fucking do. And Aunt Hilda is like, girl, finally, just go back to Baxter High. Like, at least half the day, as planned. Stop spending all your time at the fucking academy. Like, maybe if you hang around your mortal friends, you'll be able to kind of ground yourself in yourself. So she does, but then she finds out that they're doing Romeo and Juliet. And of course, the cunning one, Roz, Roz the cun, Hernandez, I don't even know if that's her last, I don't remember what her last name is. Washington? I don't know. I don't want to look right now. But her and Harvey are Romeo and Juliet. And no, Harvey is not Juliet. And, unfortunately, that is not where we're going with that. But Sabrina's, fine with it. Until she's not. And meanwhile, she gets paired to work with, what was his name? Billy Marlin, the bully, who is like secretly gay or whatever. And then he teases, now Theo used to be Susie. This is the last time we're going to say Susie, by the way. No more dead naming from this moment forward. Theo moving forward. So Billy torments Theo. And Sabrina, and it is actually a really terrifying scene, which I can relate to in a sense, not as obviously a trans person, but as a gay man, and a femme gay man, what it was like going into locker rooms. It was fucking horrifying, and you didn't know, you had the sense like you didn't know if you were going to get beaten up, murdered, sexually assaulted, a combination of all the other, like it was, you did not, there was always this fear, and no, not unfounded, unfortunately, for most of us, at least once it's unfounded. So I understood that scene, and it was terrifying, and I was like, oh, they're gonna take turns with Theo and go to town on Theo. Like, that's what I didn't think it was, they're gonna beat Theo up, which is how Theo, the character, took it. Like, oh, they were waiting to undress, like watch me undress and ridicule and make fun of me. No.
I mean, I think most people of our age are familiar with that look on a guy's face.
Yeah. So Sabrina gives Theo a rope charm, a noose charm, to then, I believe it was to untie it. Yes, I think Theo had to untie the knot. And Billy does a really cruel thing to Theo. So Theo unties it, full of burning fucking rage, and does it while Billy's on a staircase. Unties it. Billy falls down the stairs. I mean, not only breaks the leg, but the bone shatters out the skin. And just blood everywhere. And basically, Sabrina, continuing to defy the Dark Lord's requests of a sin, is having repercussions on everyone else around her. Because, there's no love from your Lord and Savior like coercion and blackmail and torture and maiming innocent people to get you to do something, to compel you to do shit. Dark Lord loves you, girl. So she gets a witch's mark, which is like the devil's claw, which is a nice little reference to the British film from the 60s. Blood on Satan's claw. And it starts appearing kind of on other people, and her life is like a mark that they've now been marked for her defiance, and it's kind of like a hit, it's kind of like a hit list, like, oh, bitch has been marked, coming for you next. And so Roz gets the chicken pox. Like, I mean, I know people can die from chicken pox, so it was just like people get the chicken pox. So she had the chicken pox. Salem almost died. Salem was super ill, which fuck you, Dark Lord. Like, I would have abandoned you right then and there. I've been like, 100%. Bitch, I'm just gonna pretend to be mortal and take my witchcraft. Like, fuck you, evil bitch. No, because then you wouldn't have Salem. And why would you want to not be a witch? Never mind, I take it all back. Go do whatever the Dark Lord says. So, of course, it comes down to Harvey. And she's like, oh no, of all the people in danger, Harvey has had nothing happen to him except a mark appear on him. So that's enough. Everyone else, they're already suffering. But Harvey's just been marked. I'm just, that's the final straw, because I'm Sabrina, and that's the only thing that matters. So Sabrina goes through with it. And the Dark Lord wants Sabrina to burn down Baxter High, because it symbolizes everything that is actually the antithesis of him in the Church of Night. It's not some other church. It's not, for Sabrina, that is her Christian church or whatever, that he's like, oh no, so we need to destroy this. And she goes, and she's a gasoline girl. So if you're not catching, I'm dropping hints and clues to that fucking Witchy Media review. But she goes, and she gasoline girl, and she fucking is about to burn it down, and then the Dark Lord is like, nah, don't do it, you're good. And Sabrina's like, okie dokes. Meanwhile, at Baxter High, Zelda's about to kill a bitch, and what ends up happening is Zelda ends up coughing up, choking up a frog, a toad, and that toad is actually Sister Shirley's familiar. So Zelda takes it back home with her, and she's about to fucking cook that thing. And Hilda is like, no, that creature did nothing to you. Don't do that. Instead, do this shit that I used to do to the bullies, aka your friends, when we were in school. And so she teaches her this earworm spell, Hex, to do, and so Zelda does it. And as a result, she teaches that bitch a lesson and sends a message. Sends her up the staircase onto a railing on the second story of the main commons of the Church of Night, and is about to jump off when Zelda tells her to not jump off, and then she's like, see girl, boom. And then she turns around and looks at her little cronies, Sister Shirley's other teacher cronies, and she's like, next time I won't tell her to stop, and I will then do it to you. Boom, boom, boom. See you at the play.
Such a satisfying scene.
So good. Meanwhile, she's also upset because Father Blackwood has like rewritten the story of Lilith to make her like subservient, whereas in their actual liturgy for Lilith after leaving, she was like a survivalist and a self-sufficient woman, independent, and she don't need no man. And that is not kind of the story that's presented. It was very much the taking of an established liturgy and changing it to suit whatever agenda that you have, which is always a shitty, shameful thing to do, and you shouldn't ever do that. But Father Blackwood does. So it's just another like erasure situation, demeaning of a woman's story, basically, through religious text and etc. Now, of course, as we've discussed, Lilith is not canonical to the original Bible text or story. It's so, in the end, people can do whatever they want with Lilith in the story of Lilith, because Lilith is a composite situation that's very thin. But for the sake of this mythology that they're presenting, Lilith is having some flashback, hard pill to swallow moments, because she's being reminded about how she did give away her autonomy to Lucifer, to the devil. Now, of course, again, in the mythology of Lilith, it's Samael that she gets with and births the 100 million legions of demons or whatever. But like, but there's not really anything of her then subservient to Satan. That's not. I think, canonically, I think the myth of the somewhat Hebrew-ish text of Adam's first wife, demon, queen, whatever, exile, Lilith, Screech-Owl, I think is, she's in this mythology, in that mythology, I do believe that she is not, I think she's still kind of just on her own. Right. And doing her own thing in that realm. So, but in this one, she gives it to Satan, to Lucifer. She gives up her freedoms. And I think she's clearly having regrets about that. So everyone loves to play, though. Good on Nick Scratch, who plays Lucifer. So Dorcas was supposed to play Eve. No, was supposed to play Lilith. And Sabrina was Dorcas's understudy. And in the end, the Dark Lord at one point was trying to convince her to drop like a sandbag on her and basically kill her. And she almost did it. And then she's like, no, I'm not going to do it. And then in the end, as like a gift, I guess, outside of just like restoring everyone's health and Salem's health for being willing to like burn down the school, he gives the chickenpox that he gave Roz, he gives him the Dorcas. So then Sabrina gets to be Lilith in the play, because Satan, Lucifer, Morningstar, whatever, likes Sabrina and Nick Scratch as a couple. So like he wanted them to like be on stage together, because he's also trying to do the whole one small bad sin leads to another bigger one, and that's kind of the theme of this whole episode. It starts with stealing one pack of gum, and then next thing you know, you're massacring an entire congregation full of people and like slitting throats and shit, and like you're like, how the fuck did that happen? Like, it's a slippery slope apparently. And it all starts with one tiny little sin apparently, according to the show.
Shouldn't have stolen that gum, girl.
No. Now you're responsible for Jonestown. Like,
exactly.
You're the reason. Jim Jones stole gum, and as a result, he killed all those people. R.I.P. Shouldn't joke about that, but also shouldn't have stole that pack of gum. So he returns. The Dark Lord appears to Lilith and brings back Stolas, her familiar, and after reminding her that she will always be his little bitch. It sucks, and it's not fair, because here's the thing. He knew deep down Sabrina wouldn't have gone through with burning it down, or she would have immediately done something to put it out, right? So he knew that Lilith would win the bet. He intervened early to stop her, so that way it was while she was still going through with it. So then he could say, oh, look, I won the bet. Exactly. She was going through with it, without actually seeing in the end how it would play out, if she would go through with it, and if she would let the school actually burn down, or would she stop it before it would get out of control?
Right.
And that would be the only way you could actually do that. But of course, he's the great deceiver, so he hedged his bets and he gerrymandered the system.
Yep.
And that's what he did. And then he was like, peekaboo, I see you. But Lilith now is on rampage. She is on rampage. Like, she's ready. She wants to take his ass down. She wants to take his ass down. So we'll see how that goes.
We shall see indeed.
We'll see how it goes for Sabrina now that she's feeling her embers burning for Nick more. Unfortunately, we have more Kinkle and Co.
Yes.
So there's that.
A Kinkle Winkle.
Yeah. Good times.
Good times.
All right. So next we have SpellCraft.
Ooh.
And for this SpellCraft, once again, we have Evanne to take us away.
Yes,
and this
I
is
do.
for a very special SpellCraft.
Yes. So this is popping our broomsticks back to the Zeus topic.
Yes.
So this holiday that I observed, and I'm going to kind of take you through like what it is and then how I celebrated it this year. This is the festival of Olympia, and that takes place on the 19th day of the month of Nikion, which this year fell on May 7th. So as you can probably infer from the name of the festival, this honors Zeus Olympios as the king of the Olympian gods. It actually does not have anything to do with like, the Olympian Games. It's just specifically to honor him as the king of the Olympians.
Right.
So traditional offerings to Zeus at Olympia were libations, incense, food, and as well as the sacrifice of a very large number of bulls. Festivities would include processions, cavalry, contests, as well as exhibitions. This festival began around 520 BC as part of the inauguration of the Temple of Olympian Zeus at Athens. Ruins of the temple are still standing today. You can go visit them. It's located 0.3 miles southeast of the Acropolis and then 0.4 miles south of the center of Athens. Let me learn how to talk. Syntagma Square.
Okay, Syntagma Square.
Syntagma Square, woo! Okay, so foundations were laid on the site of an older outdoor sanctuary to Zeus and then built up as the temple. So the original temple was constructed by the tyrant Pisistratus in 550 BC. However, after he died, that temple was destroyed. His sons, Hippias and Hipparchos, began a construction of a new and grander temple around 520 BC, and they instituted the Festival of Olympia at the same time.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So construction of the new temple lasted until 131 AD. So we're talking about like 600 years plus that this was being
Which
worked
I
on.
think we really kind of forget because we watch a lot of like, when you watch a lot of like historical movies set back then, the temples are already built.
Exactly.
Like the temples are built. They're not, which is not how it would have been.
No.
In the ancient world, so much of what we see, these amazing structures, these temples, even all in Greece and Rome and Italy and Turkey and Persia, all these places, in Asia, all these places took hundreds of years to build.
Yes.
By the time it was in like the completed stages of grandeur in which it could fully be just kind of like celebrated in that way was usually by the time it was like towards the like end of that reigning empire.
Right.
Like, you know, most of the time it was all halfway done, half completed shit.
Yeah.
Quarter of the way, maybe like in the end, you know, a lifetime is worked on it in a king's lifetime. And let's say we'll give them 57 years, right? 60 years, we'll say 60 years. And in that 60 years, it would look, if you compared the difference, it wouldn't look like much got worked once you said, oh, it took 64, this is what was accomplished in 60 years or whatever. You'd be like, just that? That's it? Like,
exactly.
Because it took hundreds of years.
Exactly. So yeah, this particular temple, at least like the grand version that, you know, that we still have at least something of today, it was over 600 years from start to finish. Now, at the time of its completion, just to kind of give you an idea of the scale of this temple, it had 3 rows of 8 columns across the front and back, and then a double row of 20 at the flanks, totaling 104 columns in the temple.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Now, unfortunately, once the temple was completed, it was relatively short-lived, as it was pillaged during a Germanic invasion in 267 AD.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it was never restored to its former glories.
Right.
But today, 16 of the original columns still survive at the ruins.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So with that being said, that it was that Olympia itself as a festival was kind of coincident with the temple being built, and then it was destroyed so short after its completion. We don't know a lot about how it was celebrated in antiquity. We know, obviously, that it involved lots of celebrations, festivities, processions. We know there was libations, food. It was a feast. It was a party. Honored him as the king of the gods. Lots of bulls were sacrificed. But other than that, we don't know
the mechanics.
the mechanics of kind of how it was observed back then. But I kind of like that about it, because it allows you, as, if you are a modern day worshiper of Zeus, to kind of, while staying in the framework of what we do know, you can kind of make it your own. And however you want to honor him, you can do that.
Yes. Now you're like, wait a minute, but if you're classicist and you like to do everything so accurate, again,
to the extent that we know.
Of what we know, what you have provided.
Yes.
But with that being said, the things that we do tweak and add in and make our own usually still involves traditional hymns and prayers.
Yes,
It's just going and finding other ones that fit either what you're honoring or what you're petitioning for.
Exactly.
But you're still using a traditional framework. You're not just like willy-nillying.
No.
So just wanted to address that, because I was like, someone's going to be like, no, I thought well, yes, sometimes you don't have, there's only so much information you have, and you have to build, then you have to reconstruct.
Exactly.
You become a reconstructionist.
Which is never the intention.
No, but there are people who are
times,
reconstructionist pagans, or
Exactly,
polytheists, who are reconstructionists, who they do just that, where they kind of more take it and and we're going to do an episode where we will discuss these differences too, and more in depth, which we should. We should do the difference, the pagan umbrella. We should do an episode about that, and I think we will. But yeah, so you can just kind of, in the instance, you are becoming a reconstructionist.
Yeah. So yeah, you want to honor these occasions. You want to stay within the framework of what you do know. However, you can only know what there is to know.
Yes,
So a lot of those other minute details of your personal festivity that you are honoring them with, sometimes you do have to add your own little flavor to it.
Yeah, because of course there are like living traditions, like a lot of the Eastern traditions, like Hinduism, where they're still completely active today, and the lineage runs completely. So all the texts, all the practice, all the traditions and rituals are completely known and traceable, and there's something common.
Exactly.
But outside of those instances, it kind of reminds me of that piece about HEKA-TEA that CNN was talking about, where the one researcher said that her cult is one of the rare ones that exists to this day that has so many of its practices, everything still intact.
Oh yeah.
And that's kind of what we have to remember, is that actually is very not normal
very rare,
in a lot of pagan traditions, especially if they're not continuous.
Yes. And so many of them, like, you have certain ones that are more well preserved historically, and certain ones that are not.
Right, or are more fragmented. And in those cases, if you follow a deity who, that's unfortunately just the case for them. Like, that's just, let's say, it's like Evanne, where it's like you follow Zeus, but there are parts that are fragmented. Then even though, yes, you're like, I am a classicist, at times, then you have to become a reconstructionist polytheist.
Exactly.
And so when we look at people who are reconstructionists, and what that really is people who are like, they follow a deity, work with a deity, whatever work, there is very little out there in terms of their practice, so they have to do their own research, figure out their history, figure out geographical shit, figure out things of the time, take what they do have, and then build a new framework around it.
Yes. So
it's not wrong, but it's not, and it does kind of get hand in hand, get tossed with like a classicist polytheist, but a reconstructionist pagan or polytheist is more someone who has to kind of restructure based off of more sparse evidence pieces, whatever.
Yes.
And like I said, we will do an episode where we get into the umbrella of all of this at some point.
Exactly. And although we do know very little about the way that Olympia was observed in antiquity, I will say there was a more recent use of or depiction of it in pop culture. And that was that it was the celebration of Olympia was depicted in the first episode of the Netflix series Chaos from 2024.
Yes, good show.
Yes.
Should never have been canceled. Fuck that.
Yeah, good show. So I thought that was interesting. I actually, when I first watched it a couple of years ago, I didn't even realize that it was a real holiday.
Oh, yeah.
So then when I started working with Zeus and learning all of these things, I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
And I actually think it's even cooler now knowing that it's not only a real holiday, but also one that we don't really know very much about. So I thought that was a really cool, like, inclusion of that.
Yeah.
So with that being said, let me kind of get into how I personally observed Olympia this year. So the first thing that I did, and this is something I really like to do for all of my deities, but I hadn't done this for Zeus yet. So I thought, like, since the holiday was coming up, I was like, this is like a perfect occasion and time to do it. It would be a really good gift. But I like to make them fragrances to use on their altars. And then whenever I do it, I make a second bottle for me to use for them on their days. And the number of ingredients that I use corresponds to their sacred numbers. And then each ingredient that I include will always be something that is sacred to them or was used in their practices and their cults. So I did that for Zeus. Since Zeus's number is 6 and then Jupiter's is 3, I decided to do a selection of 9 ingredients to encapsulate both of them.
3, 6.
Oh yeah, that's right. I've got this bottle, which is going to be like my bigger mixing bottle, and then it's going to get distributed into these smaller bottles because I am going to offer one on his altar, and then the other one is going to be for me to wear for him on Thursdays. So that is basically the situation that is happening. So the first ingredient that I am going to grab, if I can find it, is this magnolia oil. And just to kind of preface before I get started, all of the ingredients that I've picked are either things that are sacred to Zeus or sacred to Jupiter or are associated with planetary Jupiter. So it's just kind of going to be a big cologne blend for him. So the first one that I've got is magnolia, and that is typically used to bring stability to one's life. You can definitely use it to bring stability to a marriage or to a relationship, but you can also use it for stability if you are needing that just in and of yourself. You can also use it for strength as well as protection over the innocent, all of which are things that are very applicable to this deity. And I'm going to add a little bit more. I'm kind of doing like a big batch, obviously, since it's getting distributed into multiple bottles, so I am very much being liberal with the amounts of the oils that I'm going to be using. Next up will be black orchid oil, and that is used for commanding presence, authority, life and death transformations, as well as to bring enduringness to a passion. Already smelling kind of good. Next, I will be adding some juniper oil, which is great for protection or purification, as well as fostering the connection with the divine. It is great for witches who are seeking to kind of bridge a gap between one realm and the next. Next up, we'll be doing a little bit of clove oil, and that is very associated with the fire element as well as the sun. It's also great for prosperity or financial abundance. Next, some cinnamon oil, which is considered a very herb associated with masculinity, and that does not have to be physical masculinity. It can be just a giving energy. It can very much be, you know, you being in your divine masculine, whatever that may mean to you, but it also can be physical masculinity as well. Also very much associated with fire and the sun. It's great for protection as well as enhancing psychic power. Got a little bit of vanilla, and I am actually using an extract, so I'm going to be very not as liberal as with the others with this, because a little bit will definitely go a very long way with this stuff. And vanilla is great for romance, prosperity, as well as mental stimulation. There's too many bottles of oils right now. Next up, I'm going to be adding some orange, and that is a very solar herb. It's great for things like joy and creativity, as well as power and abundance. So let's just get that on in there. Next, we've got some blue eucalyptus, which is very associated with planetary Jupiter, but it's also great for cleansing and protection, as well as providing some emotional healing. Okay. Next, we've got, and this is a very small bottle, so I'm actually going to be using the entire thing in this blend, but this is a bottle of tomato seed oil. Now, tomatoes are great for fertility, as well as creativity, protection, as well as love and passion. And on a separate note, very moisturizing on the skin as well. Put that all in there. So I believe that is all the oils themselves that I'm going to be adding, which brings me to the next round of ingredients. This is kind of a complicated process, but definitely one that I always use as kind of a form of connection with my deities, and I feel like they appreciate any act of creation that I'm doing with my hands for them. So I think it's enjoyed on both ends. So the first thing I'm going to infuse this with is a little bit of celery seed. And now specifically in Greek liturgies, celery was associated both with fertility as well as death in the underworld. And in general, it's also been long associated with lust and psychic development, as well as mental stimulation. And attempt to not spill it all over the table, but I can't make any promises. See, it's good I didn't make any promises, because I absolutely dumped it all over the table. But that's all right. I am also going to add in some bay leaves. Bay leaves are very sacred to both Zeus and Jupiter. They are also associated with fire and the sun, as well as with protection and purification in general, as well as success of any type that you could request for. Just all types, whether it's financial, whether it's in your life, whether it's kind of thematic. It's just a really great herb for fostering success. Get those in there. I've also got some water, which I have infused with previous offerings that I have made. And again, probably going to spill all over my table, but that's okay. I have one more ingredient that I forgot to put on the table, and that is some flower petals from previous offerings. So I'm just going to get those in there. Most of these were either daffodils or roses, if anybody is curious. Okay, and then a very important ingredient is some dipropylene glycol. That is what is commonly known as perfumer's alcohol, and it just kind of helps the oils that I've added to not separate from the water. So super, super important when you're making a blend like this. And one more ingredient that I don't necessarily need to add, but I just wanted to add because why not? I decided to add in a little bit of olive oil because every part of the olive tree is very, very sacred to Zeus, whether it's the whole of the tree itself, the leaves, the olives, or the oil that eventually comes from it. He loves it all. So I thought if I'm kind of going all out for him this Olympia, I will do everything that I think that he would love. And that about fills up my mixing bottle. So let me get this shaken up real quick. Okay, already smelling amazing. And let me grab this towel that I got just in case I spilled all over my table, which I 100% spilled all over my table, because I'm great. Okay, now that that's been shaken up and mixed in together, I'm going to get this distributed into the bottles. Okay. I need to grab some of these petals back out though. And hopefully these will go in, I'm not sure. These bottles are a little bit small at the top. day. Bay leaf come out, it definitely needs to be in one bottle. Okay, I'm just gonna try. Of course, everything but the bay leaf wants to come out of the mixing bottle. Got it. This is one of them. Although frankly, I may have to break them up to get them to fit into the bottles. But that's okay, as long as I get them into the bottles in some form. Because I just really need them to be soaking in all of the oils. This can kind of be a little bit of a tedious process, but I always find when I do this, especially as part of my devotional practice, that it's worth it. I did make a little too much, but that's okay. I can put it under the altar as some extras. Okay. I think I can actually fit a little more in. Put the top on this one, and here is the top for the other one. Okay. Okay, so yeah, looks like he was definitely getting a little extra on his altar, which I'm sure he will not complain about. And actually, this one will put back into the mixing bottle. Actually, you know, I was thinking maybe I would just add this this excess water, but I don't want to ruin the water to oil ratio because I did get it pretty perfect. Not to brag on myself, but I sure did. All right, so I'll just shake these guys up real fast and wipe them off because they are very oily. They look super pretty though. And this is what they look like. See the oils and the petals out in there. And then one thing that I kind of like to do, which is a little bit silly, but I just love a label maker. And since I do this for essentially all of my deities, I like to put name labels on there. Obviously, I'm only going to label one of them because I will be wearing the other ones. I think I will give him the one that came out with more petals, and then I will use this one. Oh, this might have been a little too oily still. All right, there we go. So I'm filming this the night before Olympia, so I'm going to put this in the window so that it can infuse in the sunshine and attract and collect all of that solar energy over the course of tomorrow before I offer it during Olympia ritual tomorrow. Okay, so I let the fragrances hang out all day and night in the windowsill. I'm home now, so I decided to bring them out here on my patio so they can enjoy some time in the direct sunlight. I've got 3 incenses burning to bless them. On the left, I've got some clove incense for Zeus of the sun, and in the center I've got storax balm for Zeus of storms, and then on the right I've got frankincense for Zeus of balance. So I will just let these continue to hang out in this beautiful sunlight and be blessed and blessed. But I wanted to show you guys, this is what they look like up close. I think they are super pretty, and you can definitely see all of that solar vitality that has come into them over the course of the day, which I think is really beautiful. So I meant to show you guys what I offered for Olympia as far as food, but it did not happen in the context of the ritual evening. So I am just going to go ahead and show you now before I get rid of the food offerings that I have setting out on the altar. It is the next day now. So I decided to order in some Greek food. I got a Euro meat plate. It's got Euro meat. It did have salad, some rice, some pita. As you can see, it's been thoroughly enjoyed by now. I also served them some cherries. And for Hera, I got this orange because I thought that this little heart sticker was very cute and reminded me of her, and I know that she likes oranges as well. For Zeus, I got him a pear because that's one of his favorite offerings. So yeah, this is what I offered them for food. I also had a serving of this and it was very, very delicious. So shout out to Giorgio's in Puyallup. It was very magically delicious. So yeah, that is the extent of my Olympia ritual, and thank you guys for following along and serving with me. Bye. And it's definitely like a process that is kind of time consuming and takes a while. Like first, I put all the ingredients together. For him, I infuse like the oils that I use with also some actual dried herbs as well. And then once I had finished putting everything together, I left it to sit and hang out in the sun for about a day before I offered it, just so that it would infuse with all of the solar vitalities. So yeah, I had a great time doing that. It was really fun. The cologne turned out really, really good. I am actually wearing my bottle right now.
It smells really good, by the way. It's really good. I was like, did I get a really amazing like hair wick that I didn't know about when she like came in? Because I was still like finishing getting ready, and I was like finishing putting on my jewelry, and then I like go in and she's like already come out of the entry, and like it's like already, so I just smell it, and as I come out my hallway, and I was just like, oh my god, did we get like a really good hair wick? Like, what is that? And then she told me, and then she was like, here, smell, and I was like, that's what I'm smelling.
Yes.
Yeah, it smells so good. I mean, that's so fucking cool.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I had a really, really wonderful time. It was definitely a big party. I will say, with like the research that I did recently about Olympia and kind of finding out how much it was connected to the construction of the temple, I definitely walked in kind of expecting it. And I guess this goes to like a lot of things with Zeus is very like dual-natured, you know? So with this, I was kind of walking in after having learned that with the expectation of it being like not only a raucous party, but also very like deep and spiritual with the connection of the temple itself. And I will say, after having observed it, and this was my first time observing Olympia, I was definitely not wrong to expect those things, and it was all that I expected and more.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so very much for that. And see, SpellCraft, like we say, it's not always spells. It's rituals. It's ideas for rituals. It's the history of rituals.
And also another shout out to the website, The Geeky Hellenist. They have a lot of kind of invocations for these holidays that we don't really know necessarily a lot about how they were in antiquity, but they have a lot of like really beautiful stylized invocations for the holidays.
Oh, cool.
And I found an amazing one for Olympia, so thank you, Geeky Hellenist.
And check out Geeky Hellenist, and if you do, please, let them know, leave a comment if you're able on their site, and let them know that you heard about them from us if you haven't checked them out before. Again, thank you.
Yes.
And here you learn everything. So if it's related to ritual or magic or spell work in any way, shape, or form, you're going to find it here on SpellCraft.
Exactly.
All right. Lastly, I'm really fucking excited to talk about this. But lastly, it is time for Witchy Media Review. And why am I so excited for this? Because we are discussing the new album from the amazing, iconic, legendary, magical, triumphant powerhouse, Tori Amos, In the Times of Dragons. let me just say, this album fucking blew my mind. That's all I'm gonna say. And I will preface, I'm a huge Tori file.
You are.
I have gone to many of her shows throughout my life. I have both of her memoirs. I have watched so many of her interviews. I still watch them. I watched specials that were made on her and documentaries and shit on her, like her live shows. Like I love her. My entire sleeve here. This is to the portion of from her song on Boys for Pele, Beauty Queen / Horses. This is from the horses portion of that song, this entire sleeve. Gave my tattoo artist the lyrics, and I was like, make a sleeve out of these lyrics, please. Yeah, so I do love her. That being said, I'm not a fan of all of her. I mean, let me take it back. I love all of her albums. I do. I actually do love all of her albums, and I do listen to them. There are ones I listen to more than others.
Right.
And there are some that, like, I don't listen to as often. And a big part of that is because, and Tori, if you are somehow watching, I fucking adore you. We've met more than once. Like, you're amazing. You're magical. I adore you. I like the edgier, powerful, darker, kind of more alt-rock Tori. And there was been a huge period there where there was very, like, there was some of that kind of on an album here or there, but really after 2009's Welcome to England.
Such a good song.
I know, and such a good album too.
Yeah.
Or excuse me, not Welcome to England, but Original Sensuality, which is what the album Welcome to the song Welcome to England is on. It got very, I don't know how else to say this other than like, I'm a mom, let's go to the farmer's market, there'll be awesome women doing it, and Persephone, tra-la-la, garden flower, peekaboo, hoo-hoo. Like, I don't know, like, I still love it all. Like, again, I still fucking love it all. But I like the fucking Tori, like, playing two pianos at once and a harpsichord with her fucking toes and fucking straddling the fucking bench, and like just the dark, electric, powerful rock and roll fire that sent chills up your spine and kind of and you wanted to put on while making out with somebody. Like some of that, like a lot of the later, most recent stuff throughout the past decade or so has been very like, I want to put this on a car ride with my mom. Not, you don't want to make out to it or anything, or like, you know, or some of the Dark Forces enjoying their Hellish Crusade. Like, you go to the older Tori for that. You go to Boys for Pele. You go to Under the Pink. You go to Choir Girl Hotel. You even go to Scarlet's Walk. You go to like, you just go Original Sensuality. You go to the older albums. And this album is like a sprinkling of American Doll Posse, Boys for Pele, Choir Girl Hotel, fucking Scarlet's Walk. It's literally kind of follows like the idea of Scarlet's Walk again. So we have alternate universe Tori, who is super famous, but she, at the peak of her ingenuity, on the peak of her fame after coming out with her solo works, and coming out with Under the Pink and Little Earthquakes, she meets a man and she marries him, and it's not Mark Howley, her actual husband. It's this like tech billionaire Republican dude, lizard man, and she marries him, and she kind of gives up that life. She gives up being Tori, and she goes and she stays with and moves in with him. She moves into a penthouse from, I believe, the penthouse from the song China in New York, and she is there. So it's kind of interesting. Again, we get to Pele with that. Like we just have, or not Pele, but we get to fucking China with that. We get to like these older albums, songs connecting to this new one, and kind of like revisiting these old ones through the lens of this alternate universe. And we are first introduced this in kind of like the intro song, Shush, and it's straight up like Shush is like straight up like Choir Girl Hotel, Venus and Back. Like
I really like that song.
Oh, it's so good. And there's this line that sends chills down my spine where she says, I used to know a girl who sang silent all these years. Where did she go, or something, or whatever happened, or something like that. And she's saying that all again because she's remembering who she used to be, and she's like, what the fuck? And this is about her making her decision to take off. And so she does. She runs away, and she hops in the car, and she goes on this road trip. And I mean, it's just every bit and piece of like all these amazing older Tori, the darker Tori that we love is here. Now, for Amos, she described the record as a metaphorical story about the fight for democracy over tyranny. So we're coming back to American Doll Posse.
Yeah.
We're coming back to Starlet's Walk. Reflecting the current abhorrent, non-accidental burning down of democracy in real time by the dictator-believing lizard demons and their usurpation of America. She gets straight to the point.
Yeah, she does.
And it's just... So, on social media, Amos said, "In Times of Dragons is a story that parallels the current dangerous times we are in, where democracy itself is on the line. As I'm fleeing from the character that is my sadistic billionaire lizard demon husband, I came across people I had not been allowed to see in years, and they had not wanted to see me because of the relationship I found myself in. To avoid being captured and dragged back to the lizard demon's penthouse, I run to the deep south of the US to throw him and his henchmen off my trail. One of the many characters I meet on the journey is the daughter. We spend time and sing together. Stronger Together is the culmination of our relationship, as it is transformed with the daughter choosing to stand by me no matter what challenges lie ahead. Whatever we will face in the future, we make a vow to each other that we're stronger together," which I think is the weakest song on the album.
I agree.
And that is not to say that I don't like when she duets with her daughter.
Yeah.
I think, like, I love her cover with her daughter of Kendrick Lamar's Swimming Pools. Fucking awesome. There's a couple other of their songs that they've done together that I do like.
Yeah.
This was just not strong. This was just very like, I'm a mother, you're a daughter,
Yeah.
we hold hands, we're together, tra-la-la, through America, tra-la-la, tra-la-la. Like, it just didn't do it.
Yeah. I
But
agree on that one.
the other song, holy fuck, Gasoline Girls is straight up related to fucking Raspberry Swirl, fucking Another Girl's Paradise.
Yeah.
It's like straight up in the sapphic. And it is, I believe, like if I remember correctly, it is about the Dykes on Bikes.
Yeah.
This journey where of the people she meets along the way. In Provincetown, she finds solace amongst the gay witches, and she there reaches out to Poseidon. So there's this whole like thread of things in each song. Saint Teresa, for example, feels very Boys for Pele.
Oh yeah,
like,
I really like that song.
You
know what song I was hoping to like based on the title, and I just did not. Blue Lotus.
Yeah,
It just like to me, it was just kind of giving like what you would anticipate hearing around a campfire of older lesbians.
I know. Yeah. Well, and it's right there with Stronger Together right after it, basically. Like,
for sure.
Yeah.
So that was not one of my favorites. There was some bangers on this album for sure.
Yeah.
But that was not one of them, in my opinion.
I will definitely say, for myself, like, I fucking love. I mean, I loved it. Like, I basically loved every song, with the exception of a couple. And in the end, like, I'm not going to go breaking down, like, oh, this song was harken to this album and this one, like, because I could.
Yeah.
As you can see, I've already been doing, but this will take forever and ages, and we don't have that time. If you are into Tori, you love Tori, and maybe like me, you have been feeling kind of like lately about her throughout the past few albums, this is it. This is the one you've been waiting for when you're like, oh, I miss old Tori. This is it. And like I said, every song, though unique to the album, because every Tori album is unique unto itself, it harkens back to echoes of all the best of Tori that you fucking love from the older shit. Like, it hits that classic fucking Tori Amos fucking note that we fucking love and what we still get when we see her live, but we don't necessarily have on the newer albums. This is it. This is the one that every time she drops a new one, you're hoping it's going to sound like it. This is that fucking album. So because of that, even with the ones I'm kind of like, because you know what, you're not going to like every song on every album ever. And there's also that thing that happens that as time goes on sometimes it can take years, but eventually you get to it and you're like, oh, I actually do like this song now. Like, oh, I don't know why. Sometimes, and I've experienced this a lot, where I'm like, I sometimes can't even remember why I didn't like the song. So who knows? But even with that, I, for myself, am giving it a fucking super fucking full fucking moon. Like, thank you, Tori. Thank you, Dragon. She hung out with a bunch of fucking witches. Thank you, gay witches. Thank you, witches of New York City. Thank you, fucking lesbians. Thank you, fucking all the shit. But also, unfortunately, fuck you, Trump, and fuck you, tyranny, and fucking fascism, and everything else that ended up having to be the catalyst of the thing that brought Tori back to making this music.
Yes, that's true.
I wish it was kind of like in a Shirley Manson way too, where it was more like she just liked doing more darker sounds.
Exactly.
Like, not that
unfortunately,
she had to be moved into it by horrendous circumstances.
Yeah, exactly. This one was definitely for a very particular purpose.
Yes, and we needed it though.
Oh, yeah,
Fucking Mother
absolutely.
Tori, we fucking needed Times of Dragons. So this isn't the Times of Dragons.
It's true.
Not the good dragons,
No,
bad dragons.
The bad dragons.
And fucking who hoard that wealth and hoard that gold and refuse to go fucking, at the very least, spend it, fucking enjoy it, fucking instead of just working nonstop. And she has in that line of Shish where she says that the billionaire husband says, which I believe it was actually Peter Thiel, and I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But I believe Peter Thiel who said, it was either Thiel or Ellison, one of the tech people who said, I don't believe freedom and democracy are compatible.
Yeah.
And she uses that. Like, she takes shots, man. Like, this album takes so many shots, and it's just, as Tori always does, but it's like she comes in there with like super relevant shit that you're like, it sends chills down, especially then once you remember, oh, well, this is just literally what one of these assholes actually fucking said. Like, and so much of that is here and present, and you feel the witchy dumb and mysticism and the dark goddesses and shit through this album, and it's just powerful and amazing, and definitely, so for me, I'm giving it a fucking powerful, super fucking full moon, blue moon, magical pink moon, wolf moon, what the fuck moon, Tori Amos red moon.
Woo!
Thoughts?
For me, I don't know if I can give it a full moon, only because while I agree with everything that you said, and I think all of those songs serve such a needed purpose right now, I will say there's fewer on the album that are my jam personally. Like I feel like there's a couple of the songs that I will go back to time and again, and other than that, I probably won't have this album in my personal rotation very often. But they are objectively mostly all very, very wonderfully written and culturally poignant songs right now. So only for my own personal, like, as to how often I will go to them, can I not give it a full moon, but I will still give it like an almost full.
So like a waxing gibbous, like the super pregnant waxing gibbous, like literally about to give, it's like the night before the full moon. The night before the full moon. Perfect. Well, so there you go. Super waxing gibbous, about to be fucking given birth, crowning fucking full moon.
Exactly.
And one super fucking blue moon, full moon, wolf moon, what the fuck moon, ginger Tori Amos fucking pow wow moon. Woo! Woo! So in the Times of Dragons, awesome. See it. If you get a chance to see Tori on tour, whether here or in Europe, in the UK, or in any other country,
do it.
Do it. Do it. Fucking do it. Let us know. Let us bond. If you have a favorite Tori song, if you have a Tori story, I'd love to hear it. Let me know in the comments. Fucking share, talk. Do that thing that we love to do.
Yes.
Okay. Well. That is it. Thank you so fucking much for joining us yet again, and we hope that you enjoyed it, learned a lot, loved a lot. If you like what you saw on this episode, as always, please do not forget to like, comment, subscribe, type, and share. And have a really wonderful rest of your fucking day, and have a wonderful new moon celebration tonight, whatever your endeavors are. And please, witches, always remember, broomsticks, not just for cleaning.